Schwartz or Sean Barber and Jay Binkley every Friday this football season starting at 6 at participating Buffalo Wild Wings locations. Enjoy $5 talls, prizes, and Chiefs gear. For a list of locations, go to 965thefan.com. You can listen to the play-by-play of the Chiefs and Raiders game with Mitch, Danon, and Kling right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Second down, Kansas City. They say 7 at the 37, so a good spot for the Chiefs, leading by 2. A little over a minute left, third quarter. Out of the shotgun, Mahomes in the pocket. He's going to scramble to the left side and gets by him at the defender, 35-yard line. Mahomes, stop and go, run, still on his feet, 15, 10, and inside the 5. The Tennessee Titans of 2019 are going, we've seen that before. He ain't going to go out of bounds. Mahomes runs for 33 yards. Stopping and going, hip dropping.
Everybody was thinking the same thing. Mitch said it there in his call. Everybody was thinking AFC title game 2019. He's not out of bounds yet. We were all thinking the same thing there. Another great run for Patrick Mahomes, part of a big day for him on the ground. Also had the touchdown where he just bullied and bodied a defender for the Niners. I know we'll talk about that. Hope everybody had a great weekend. It's a Victory Monday here in KC. It's Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Yeah, the runs yesterday, I mean, both, one brought back memories. The other was just incredible because it's the flat out. That same defender, too, by the way, that early in the game was actually the one that looked like he was shot out of a cannon and was coming up and making some big hits himself. But for Patrick Mahomes to kind of level him right at the goal line was pretty special.
I know that he's like, I'm a little thick. I wasn't trying to run him over. I was just trying to get into the end zone, and he happened to be, standing on the tracks, essentially, of that one. But yeah, those were both incredibly enjoyable. I'm sure we'll play some of those highlights as we get closer to it. But super funny to me that he ran over a guy, especially when you start seeing the photos coming out of training camp of what that guy looks like under normal circumstances. He looks like I could do 7 million push-ups a day for the next 10 years and not be in that kind of shape. So, yeah, it's funny that Patrick Mahomes ran him over. Plus, they're 6-0, so we're all feeling good.
Well, that's the thing, man. Like, yesterday's was another example of, like, hey, you know what? They find ways, even when there's injuries, to win football games. I mean, going in, we already knew the existing injuries, and the Niners had injuries as well. Both teams suffer more injuries during the game. It got to a point where the Chiefs were down to Xavier Worthy, Justin Watson, Sky Moore, and McCole Hardman. And hell, at one point, because Worthy was out for a handful of plays, at one point it was Watson, Moore, and Hardman. Those were three. They only had 3 receivers available for like a drive. Then Worthy came back after he got popped pretty good. I mean, that's what's crazy, man. They've won 12 straight going back to last season, but they're 6-0, and now they are the last unbeaten because the Vikings lost a really close one, a great game between the Vikings and Lions. If you caught that before the Chiefs game, it was one of the best games of the entire day. But they have now given themselves some breathing room in the AFC, all while they're still trying to kind of figure this thing out offensively. And I know we'll talk defense here in a little bit, but offensively, man, it is truly a week-to-week in-game adjustment after an adjustment that has to happen right now for this offense. And Tom Brady, and I don't know what you thought of him on the broadcast. I thought he actually was fantastic yesterday. He acknowledged it. He's like, there's nobody better prepared. Nobody you would rather have as your head coach with the current circumstance they have, which was right after Juju got hurt, by the way, and when they were down to 3 receivers, and where Noah Gray, and there was a stretch where they're rolling out 3 different running backs. Like, just the way they had to get through that game at times because of the issues that they had offensively, some heading in, some that happened in. Like, that's what it's going to be offensively, I think, for much of this year, unless they go and add a wide receiver.
The fact that they lost Juju Smith-Schuster, they're like, oh, he'll be fine. We know he had a hamstring injury, and then on Friday, he had said, no, he'll be okay, so we stopped talking about it as a point in what they will do if they weren't in the game. They had 4 touchdown drives. I mean, they had to drive the field a number of times. This will probably surprise you. Brett Coleman, who does some advanced analytics on offensive numbers, the Chiefs' offense is such a mystery outside of this because they are 4th in EPA effectiveness, 7th in scoring drive percentage, so they score the 7th most in the NFL, Fourth lowest punt percentage. Now, part of that is because of the turnovers, and second fewest plays that gain no yards or go for a loss. So they're actually a relatively effective offense at times. But I mean, yesterday they lose Juju, and they're down to the. And by the way, the leading wide receiver at the end of the day reflected that. Xavier Worthy had the most receiving yardage from a wide receiver at one catch for 19 yards. But what do they do instead? They found a run longer than that from McCole Hardman. They found Justin Watson for a first down. They tried to get it to Sky Moore. It was useless, but they tried to get it to Sky Moore. What impresses me the most is you had mentioned that 12 games. I would say that this 12-game winning streak is not even created equal to others. These are the teams they have beaten during that time. San Francisco twice. That is a team that had one of the best records in the NFC and was in the Super Bowl last year. That's where they beat them. Baltimore twice. A team who has the second best record in the AFC and was in the AFC title game last year. Cincinnati twice. The Chargers twice. Buffalo, Miami, Atlanta, and New Orleans. Of those teams, only three didn't make the postseason last year, and two of them are currently in a playoff spot right now. So if you look back at where you are, you're like, I mean, that's a hell of a murderer's row. That's mostly what the best teams have been over the last 3 years in the NFL, and that's what their 12-game winning streak is. Now, part of that's because those are playoff teams for 4 of those games. But even outside of that, I mean, this has been a hell of a run.
No, it has. It has, and when you see the way they went about it yesterday, not just offensively, but that gets us in, a little bit to where they have been as a defensive unit. And how many times have you and I this season already come on the show, sometimes after a victory, sometimes it's later in the week, but usually it's on a Monday. It's like, hey, this is how they have to win games right now.
Yeah.
And we say that like it's, oh my gosh, they had a squeak by. They won by 10 points, and it was a garbage time touchdown late from the 49ers. Like this remind you, the Chiefs were underdogs heading in. It got up to 2.5 or 3 right before kickoff at some books. So they were 2.5, 3-point underdogs. Once again, Mahomes, the dog to Brock Purdy. Someone explained that one to me. It makes no sense whatsoever. Eventually, maybe they'll learn on this one. Like, the books make a lot of money. They're very smart. For whatever reason, when it comes to the Chiefs,
Wrong on the Chiefs
and Patrick Mahomes, when they're a dog, it's a mistake. They did in the postseason last year. They did it yesterday against Brock Purdy. But this team was an underdog, and they didn't just win, Cody. They went out and they won by double digits.
They were in firm control of the game the entire way. Like that's what it really boils down to. They were up double digits before half, had the ball with a chance to go up 3 scores. Eventually, they let the 49ers get a field goal, but that was 14-6. Then nobody did anything for about a half of the third quarter because the Chiefs' defense is so great. And then after that, the Chiefs completely controlled the game the rest of the way once they found what they wanted to do on offense. There is part of me that is like the obvious, which is if I had told you before the season that the Chiefs would be without Hollywood Brown, without Rashee Rice after a couple of weeks, without Isaiah Pacheco after a couple of weeks, that Patrick Mahomes would have more interceptions than they had wins, a million things, right? If I had told you all of those things existed, you'd have told me that they were 3-3, 4-2 if you were just like a wholehearted optimist. Like borderline uncontrollable optimist, Gold. If I had told you they were missing all of those pieces and you were like, because if you had told me they were 6-0 and that happened, I'd be like, you're a liar. Why are you telling me this? Even you don't believe it. There's not a possible scenario in which that is viable. And yet, they are 6-0. They continue. And this was, like, I thought this was going to be the most impressive. Now, look, I think that gets negated a little bit because Ayuk left in the middle of the game with a torn ACL and Debo didn't really play. Now, I will say, this was kind of the great juxtaposition of what you talked about, how they win. These are two teams without their number 1 and number 2 wide receiver, without their number 1 running back, with some inefficiencies across the board. And one of those teams has been able to overcome that all year and just kick the ass of the other. And the other one lost a couple of players, and it felt like the whole train came off the tracks. So, like, the Chiefs are just better at overcoming those things than other teams.
And that goes back to the Tom Brady comment I was referencing. Yeah, I mean, when Tom Brady in the game is saying, like, no coach is better prepared. No, you would not want any other coach in the exact circumstance the Chiefs were in that game yesterday. or this season, right, in terms of the issues. Every team's dealing with injuries. Kyle Shanahan, of course, dealing with injuries. I think it's nuts that in San Francisco that there's people out there, I'm talking about fans, like actually think that they need a new head coach. Like that's insane, right? But that's where you're at. Kyle Shanahan has not been able to win. I mean, that kind of stuff is crazy. But, he hasn't been able to win when they have these injuries. It's really hard to win the league anyway, and then you have injuries. And what makes it more impressive? The Chiefs just went on the road as underdogs with deficiencies and won by double digits. That's a very hard thing to do in the NFL when you're at full strength, let alone when both teams have some injuries. But yeah, the Chiefs been able to battle through. And the biggest reason why is because we know, and it's even more, I think, fitting after seeing the Chiefs win, but also seeing Sunday Night Football with the Pittsburgh Steelers and how they won against the Jets. These teams, like they both you should not take it as an insult. We've said it over and over. The Chiefs and Steelers win in very similar fashion.
They do.
Great defense, can run the ball. The one difference is Patrick Mahomes can still have a run or two, and we'll talk about this in 20 minutes, that he can go out and just win a game by making a play or two with his feet as well, which we saw twice yesterday against the 49ers. But this defense, man, like Brock Purdy was bad yesterday. Flat out bad.
One of the worst starts
I
of his
know
career,
he
probably.
was missing pieces. He wasn't just bad because he's been bad all year. No, he's been really good this year. Really good. Why is he bad? Because Steve Spagnuolo, this is the quarterback, and they only play him, the NFC, they don't play often, but they have
Maybe
because of the Super Bowl.
total.
Because of the Super Bowl, they played him more than normal. But that's his quarterback that he can shut down. Like Brady was saying during the broadcast that, he basically, he can't stand Spags. He was joking, but I was just like, hey, this is the
He
guy.
said he's not his kryptonite. What did he call him? The bane of his existence.
There you go.
That was the phrase.
Yeah,
he used.
and he's basically like, this guy just had my number. He knew how to kind of figure me out. That's what Brock Purdy's probably feeling like. Now, Spags has done this to a lot of quarterbacks because he's the best defensive coordinator in football. But yesterday, to me, just showed Brock Purdy looked completely different yesterday than he had all year. And yes, he's been without McCaffrey already. He's had a game or two where he missed Debo. So they had injuries, but he's been shorthanded and still looked impressive. Not yesterday. The Chiefs shut down the run when it mattered most in the first. You look at the box score, you'll say, hey, they ran for 90-something yards, I think it was.
It's really not much for their standard.
No,
yeah.
And that's still high for what the Chiefs have given up, I think, at times.
It is.
But the yardage in the first half wasn't there, and that's when the game was really tight and competitive, more so than it was even in the second half. So I just thought Steve Spagnuolo and this Chiefs defense, who still has not allowed a 300-yard passer in 2024, were sensational. That's how this team wins. That is why they're going to be back in the Super Bowl.
I think you have to go back to the middle of last season to find the last person who went for 300 yards against him. Here's the stats, by the way. Jordan Mason, their leading back, went 14 carries for only 58 yards. Brock Purdy had to scramble 8 times for 27. That's way too much for him, even though he got 2 rushing touchdowns. Kyle Juszczyk had 1 carry for 14 yards, and Garendo came in for 1 snap, got 1 carry for 2 yards. That is an excellent job defensively on their run game. Look, they're a defensive team. We should just accept that. I know it sounds weird. It never sounds right. Even last year, I thought it was more of a 50-50 proposition. This is a team led by their defense and who wins games via their defense. The great news is for them, and then in crunch time, what we talked about with Mahomes still exists, but this is a defensive team. They haven't allowed 30 points since the Eagles in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Not last season. They didn't allow a single 30-point game last season. Do you realize that they're statistically more likely to give up numbers in the teens than in the 20s this year? They're more likely to give up scores under 20 this season than they are to actually give up that number. So, this is the best defense in football. The run defense once again proved it. They have faced the single best rush offenses in the NFL. The 49ers, the Ravens, time in and time out, every single team, they're going to stop the run. And because these other quarterbacks haven't been able to make up the difference and just go ham on them, Josh Allen or something, they haven't been tested in that way. Purdy is definitely he probably hopes to never see the Chiefs again. But I would say that this is kind of across the board. When we start looking at how long old it's been since someone got 300 yards. I do think Spags is the greatest defensive coordinator of all time.
It's amazing.
Maybe I'm just
man.
maybe I'm victim of the moment. I don't know.
It's amazing what they've done. And George Karlaftis, we were just talking about him last week and the numbers and all that. He stepped up huge in a couple plays in particular where they were double teaming him and he got through a double team. One, they just kind of whiffed, but he still got through a double team. I thought the defensive line was sensational yesterday. And certainly Chris Jones didn't have the stats. We've talked about that.
I don't care about that. I can see how
but
disruptive
he was disruptive, and that's a big reason why Karlaftis had a big day yesterday for Kansas City.
I think he had the biggest play of the game, where they were in the red zone and he hit Purdy as he.
Yes, that led to the Jaden Hicks interception. Yeah, he definitely got a piece of that, or at least caused him to, his arm to be a little off or whatever. The one concern I know we're going to talk about a little bit later, though, is now, okay, the big question. They've been great with next man up philosophy. They've been pretty healthy on defense. Is a big blow with Jalen Watson, because we just discussed where the quarterbacks were last week. That, hey, you know what? Jalen Watson's been great, and they didn't have a clear guy coming out of camp, and that's okay. And how silly it seemed to be worried about that. And Jalen Watson is playing as good as Snead was last year, essentially at times. And now we know Jalen Watson is probably going to be done for the season. We'll get official word maybe today. Andy's going to speak at noon, but there's multiple reports, including Zach Gelb over at the Infinity Sports Network. It used to be CBS Sports Network here with Odyssey. And he's reporting that a source telling him it's a broken ankle for Jalen Watson. Andy Reid after the game said basically it's not good. They don't think it's going to be good news on an MRI. So that's a huge loss for this football team. And now it's Najee Johnson, who was a little rough when he just was forced to fill in yesterday at that spot. Got called for a couple penalties, too. So we'll see. Josh Williams and Najee Johnson are going to have to step up. We can have a deeper conversation about, is that a trade market for them? Typically, it hasn't been an area where they've gone and given up assets for. So that will be interesting to see over the next couple of weeks. But that's a tough one to overcome. I know we see all these other injuries on the team. We're like, hey, they've made it work. But we just got done saying the defense is why they're winning games. So when you lose your number 2 corner, that's a big deal.
Like when you start going through it, yeah, it is. And I know we're going to talk about where exactly that injury lands amongst the injuries they've already had this season.
Mm-hmm.
But I just can't help but look at. How can you not tell me this is the league's best defense? These other teams have scored against other teams. Baltimore only got 20 against them. They're averaging a full touchdown more than that. Cincinnati probably got them for the best, 25 points. They're averaging 5 more points per game than that. Atlanta only got 17. The Chargers only got 10. The Saints only got 13. At this point, we used to have these conversations to be like, hey, you better be ready to get to 30 points if you're going to beat Kansas City. That used to be the conversation here, Drew, before you get to be like, hey, if you're not getting to 30, then don't even waste your time showing up to the building. But now it's like at this point, it's like if you can't get to 24, it's over. Not because the offense needs to get there, but if you can't get to 20, you're not getting to 24, right? Like that's not the number the Chiefs have been giving up. They haven't given up that amount all season. And that's what, or I say, the one time against Cincinnati. That's the number you're going to have to get to win. And that's been an almost impossible task. They are statistically over the last year and a half more likely to give up 10 than they are probably 24. No 30-point games, as we have previously pointed out, all the things that factor into this. When their defense is playing at this level, it puts so much pressure on your defense to stop the Chiefs from doing anything. I just mean anything. And they're still an efficient offense from the 20 to the 20. Like, they got problems. They got plenty of problems. Yeah. 20 to 20, they are a relatively efficient offense. They start screwing around and turning the ball over and having mistakes outside of that. But for the most part, they succeed inside of that range.
And the question will, once again, much like last year, will be by the time we get to week 15 and then ultimately the opening round, or hopefully it's divisional round because they get a first-round bye. Hopefully it's a divisional round of the playoffs. Is the offense capable of elevating itself? Because it did. I normally be like, oh, well, this is who they are. They can't play better in the postseason. We know that's possible because last year, suddenly the offensive line in the playoffs just played their best football. Does that happen again? Mahomes played his best football.
Kelsey played his best.
And the defense, of course, continued to do what it was doing. The other biggest question will be what we all have up until November 5th, which is going to be the trade deadline. And do they go out and find somebody? And I know we discussed it a lot over the last few weeks, but seeing yesterday and then seeing Juju go down with the hamstring in game after it was a spasm on Thursday, then didn't come back, given his health history and everything like that, I don't know how they can't go out and add a wide receiver. Like, tell me how they just don't have to do that.
Tell me the justification.
I don't get it, man.
6-0 on a back-to-back defending Super Bowl champion. Why wouldn't you, even if you're not even totally sure it makes a massive difference in your offense, isn't it worth the risk at this point? I looked it up last night because I saw the stat that said the Chiefs are only the second team to start 6-0 after being defending back-to-back Super Bowl champion. So this is the best start, right? This is the second best or tied for the best
So
start.
the 90s 49ers.
The 1990 San Francisco 49ers. And before you're like, it's an insult because you know that they didn't eventually win the Super Bowl. That 1990 49ers team finished 14-2 and was the number 2 offense in the NFL and lost in the NFC Championship game 15-13 of all freaking scores of all nonsense.
Who would that have been to?
Giants.
Okay.
So of all nonsense scores, they lost 15-13 in the NFC title game. But I mean, they were 14-2. So the Chiefs have already established what you wanted to know in the defense of the three-peat. That's the real question. Team wins back-to-back Super Bowls. Your question is, can they do it? And when they lost all these players, I had the same thought you did, which is like, I don't know, man. That's one of the things that stops three-peat championships from happening is everyone gets hurt and you just can't overcome it. And right now, 6 games into the season, they already have a 2-game lead on the AFC. A 2-game lead on their division with a chance to extend that, by the way. It'll be 2.5 games. If the Chargers lose tonight to the Cardinals, they're a 1-point favorite against the Cardinals on the road for Monday Night Football. I mean, it just feels like if you had any questions about if it was possible this year versus like they maybe tell the story that like, I don't think this is the year, they're the best team in football again. And they're doing it without all their stars.
And that's why we had to see guys step up. And yesterday, the big player that stepped up, other than McCole Hardman, who we'll talk about later, he was great.
He was great.
Noah Gray would be the other player, though, that absolutely stood out and jumped out on the television screen if you're watching the game. He ended up having a career-high yardage, and it came in the first quarter. I mean, right away, he stepped. I mean, from the minute Juju went down, I mean, almost seemed like the next.
It was Noah Gray time.
It was Noah Gray. They were able to key in on him. Obviously, the Niners were able to keep Kelsey in check, but they were like, all right, we're not going to let it be Kelsey. So then who was going to step up? And the answer was Noah Gray and then McCole Hardman. Obviously, they had some creative things drawn up for him, and he was sensational. But that might be, as we said, with the in-game adjustments week to week, it's going to have to be, kind of an odd name, if you will, an unfamiliar name stepping up in a lot of ways unless they go out and even if they go get a wide receiver, because they're just really, really thin. I mean, they were down to 3 receivers at one point yesterday. Yeah, that's not sustainable.
Now, Xavier Worthy thankfully did come back out on the field.
He didn't have. I don't know if he had a catch after that though.
No, the closest he got was the deep ball that Mahomes missed by a couple of yards. Because Worthy was open on that one. And then the very next pass after that was the one that he slipped on. So they targeted him. Yeah. They definitely looked towards Xavier Worthy, but that didn't exactly go down that way. Right now, Noah Gray only has 60 less yards than Travis Kelce on the season. Now, that also speaks to the slow start for Travis Kelce.
Well, of course. That's exactly what it speaks to.
It speaks to some of that. Noah Gray, as of right now, as we sit today, not knowing the status of the hamstring of one Juju Smith-Schuster, Noah Gray is the second best receiving option on this team. Like it or not. And by the way, I'm not sure it's particularly close. I know you can make the argument for Xavier Worthy, but the consistency in which Noah Gray is getting the football and successful when he gets the football means I want them throwing the ball to Noah Gray more. Like, they should just have more tight ends on the field. Noah Gray's a better receiving option than Sky Moore, McCole, some of these other, Justin Watson, which I guess I kind of expected him to step up more than he has so far in place of these injuries. Did a better job of that last year. He hasn't been the same player. Like, he's been remarkably consistent this year. It's not big numbers. He's not putting up big stats. But he is there when they need him. And yesterday, they desperately needed him for a couple of quarters. And he was their leading receiver there for sure. He was their leading receiver in the game. 66 yards was their leading receiver.
Yeah, when teams are going to key in on Kelce, and I know Travis, and someone texted in, and they're right. It's not normally how we talk about Travis Kelce, but the great thing at watching him is that he truly, it sounds cliche, but like truly is willing to do anything they ask him to do. So it'd be very easy right now if you're Travis Kelce, for a guy that's been, basically getting 1,000 yards almost every season, to be frustrated with your numbers and production. He was blocking his ass off yesterday.
Yeah, he was.
We all know that deep down he can't be thrilled with his production this year, but he's doing whatever it takes to win right now for this football team. And yesterday, even when they were down multiple weapons, you would have thought, oh, well, Travis is going to have to take over the game. Well, no, if his role, if he's going to be effective at that, being, a decoy and blocking, other guys have to step up. But that's why Noah Gray was able to have the day that he was having.
Yeah, because once Juju went down, there was no one left to guard. Mm-hmm. Like, we're just going to guard Travis Kelce, and you figure it out. Like, the rest of that's on you, because we're not going to stop you from doing it. It's just, it goes back to the same stats. Like, at some point, I'm like, can a team, like, do you know who this team's leading wide receiver is? It's still the guy who was hurt 2 weeks ago. Rashee Rice. I mean, he hadn't played.
It's such a head start.
2 weeks.
Such a head start.
2 weeks.
Yardage-wise.
He's still the leading receiver. They have played 6 full games. Right now, the leading receivers on this team are Rashee Rice at 288 yards, so not even quite 50 yards a game. And again, he hasn't played for 2 games. Travis Kelce at 245. The third leading receiver on this team is Xavier Worthy at 33 yards per game, 198. They're going to finish the season with nobody getting a. Are they going to have a single? Like, here's a question.
This all sounds so familiar. Where have I heard this exact?
Did you hear this in the 2000 Patriots?
No. Well, I'm talking about last year. I mean, I feel like we were halfway through the season saying, man, you and I had a bet on this show last year. Man, is Justin Watson going to have the second most receiving yards for this team or not? I know it's not Justin Watson this year.
No, but it was a stretch there.
Yeah, but so this is why I'm not as concerned. Like last year, we were having this very same conversation. Like, man, it's not going to be impressive numbers-wise. It doesn't matter, dude. It doesn't. We could all acknowledge they need to go get someone else, but in terms of the fact that right now they might barely have a receiver at the end of the year that gets 920 yards or so, if the defense is going to play at this level and Patrick Mahomes is still capable of coming up with the big play when needed, and he had it twice yesterday, maybe 3 times actually yesterday, then it doesn't matter. In other cities, I would be panicking. No track record of winning, don't have the rings in your back pocket, don't have Patrick Mahomes, don't have Andy Reid who can turn Noah Gray or McCall Hardman out of nowhere all of a sudden into the big play performer like he was yesterday. That's why I'm not worried.
It does make it easier. It's a little too easy to be a Chiefs fan.
They're 6-0, man.
They got so many problems, and they're still 6-0. The 2-game lead on the AFC is the way bigger part of that, by the way. The fact that every other team has 2 in the loss column, we're talking about how important it is for this team to get the number 1 seed. Well, they got a massive head start on it. I mean, they're not rock solid. It's not a lock or anything. But a 2-game lead, 6 games in, is a hell of a head start. I'll say that. Especially when 2 of their next 4 games are like, they still have Cleveland and Carolina and the Raiders on the schedule.
That Cleveland game.
So I guess they're already at 10 wins. Oh, it got harder because Jameis.
Cleveland game got a hell of a lot harder now that Deshaun's out for the season. That one actually might be a little more competitive.
It's not even Jameis either. Jameis was quarterback 3 yesterday.
Yeah, I just don't think they had him active because of the controversy with the. My guess is Jameis eventually will be the starter for the Browns, but I hear you. Yesterday it was Dorian Thompson Robinson.
Yeah, DTR.
Yeah. He had that one good preseason. Everybody's all excited. But, no, the Browns got better yesterday. We'll talk about Deshaun Watson's injury and the reaction to that a little bit later on the show. We're just getting started here on a Victory Monday, talking Chiefs and NFL throughout the entire show. Cody and Gold, you guys can interact with us, 913-586-7965. Up next, I want to key in on Patrick Mahomes specifically. I thought yesterday was the perfect example of why you can't just look at a box score, and we will talk more about Jalen Watson's injury that could have him out for the season.
Cody and Gold.
I didn't sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Fan.
This is legitimately my favorite weather to drive in. It's like I can crack a window, roll a window down after we get off the show, maybe still use the heated seats. That wasn't always possible. My last car had gotten older. It was more than 10 years old, but I had driven a Volkswagen for so long, and I knew I wanted to go back. That's how I ended up getting to Volkswagen Lee Summit. They were the best customer service I've ever had in buying a car. You know how it is. You walk, you're like, oh, man, that's part of the downside. Do I really want to go through this? Is it going to be? No, it's painless. Painless. I walked in, described what I was looking for in a car, told them the model type and style I was looking for. They just brought them right out in front of the building. Said, all right, take a look at these. Any of these work for you? Any questions? Something different? Do you need? No. All of those things were great. Picked our dream car, the Tiguan R-Line Black, and then we were set to go, ready to roll. Plus, I got to choose from one of the 3 incredible promotions you can pick from right now. No payments for up to 90 days on any new car, or 0% APR for up to 60 months, or Volkswagen Lee Summit will double your down payment, where $3,000 becomes $6,000. I went 0% APR for 6 months because I can't beat 0%. But look, you have your choice of what promotion works for you. At Volkswagen Lee Summit, they have a huge selection of your new favorite cars, just like I got in the Tiguan or Atlas Crossport. You need a little space. You just want to, like a sedan and the Jetta. Just pick your car and then pick your promotion. Go to VWLeeSummit.com.
Hey, it's Bob Fesco, and I'm here with my friend Brian Manning of Manning Roofing. And Brian, if I have friends with insurance claims, why would I recommend them to you at Manning Roofing?
Well, Bob, we're a one-stop shop for all trades, roofs, windows, siding, and gutters. We have licensed and insured subcontractors and a dedicated project manager that'll be on site to deal with your insurance company and make sure we submit all the documentation needed.
So do what we did and set up your appointment today at manninggc.com or give them a call at 816-448-8208. The choice is simple. It's Manning Roofing.
Many of us are looking forward to retirement, but when it's time to tap into your savings, do you know how long your money will last? Make a game plan for your retirement income distribution from UMB Private Wealth. They'll create a custom strategy for you to help make your hard-earned retirement savings last. Just go to umb.com/private wealth to schedule your personal appointment. That's umb.com/private wealth.
This is an exciting time in the sports calendar. Enjoy all the NFL action with the chance to win on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. New customers can bet $5 and you'll get $300 back in bonus bets if you win a bet on this week's game. Some of my favorite features in the app. You can create your own same-game parlay. I love to do the player props, over-under. You also can bet on who you think is going to get into the end zone. I also like to take a bet on who you think's going to get a catch in the first drive. I like to do this in primetime games. It just really locks you in for the first part of the game. You can place this bet and more. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Can help with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Is your everyday congestion preventing you from enjoying life's big moments? Try Vicks Sinex Saline today and get yourself back in the action. Vicks Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion with a gentle ultrafine mist. Sinex Saline's drug-free, no-mess formula instantly moisturizes and soothes dry, irritated nasal passages for quick and effective relief. Get back to enjoying life's big moments to the fullest without having to worry about everyday congestion holding you back. Just Sinex, breathe, use as directed.
With Labor Day savings at the Home Depot, you can get up to $1,500 off select appliances from top brands like LG, America's most reliable line of appliances, like the LG Smart Top Load Washer with easy unload angled front, so you can reach every last sock. Right now, get up to $1,500 off select appliances in-store and online with Labor Day savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing valid August 22nd through September 11th. U.S. only. See store online for details. America's most reliable line of appliances per independent study.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunk Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on two wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW-1. That's 877-WEB-NOW-1.
Presenting Again Fling's love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Ends Labor Day. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Just getting started on a Monday. Cody and Gold.
Sorry, I was telling Rob a joke right as you came on the air there.
Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. You guys can hit us up on the J Southland So Service text line, 913-586-7965. A reminder, it's a Monday, so at noon today, the only place you can hear from Andy Reid is right here on your home for the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan. That's exclusively here during Cody and Gold, so we'll bring you that in about 90 minutes or so. I think yesterday, though, was another example, and we're all guilty of this. I think especially if you're not covering the team. If I were just to mention a performance yesterday from any NFL team and you weren't watching it either on Sunday Ticket or you were at least at the very least Red Zone or something, it's easy to just look at a box score and be like, man, that guy had an amazing day or that guy sucked. And that might be the case. Like, that may be true. Like, C.J. Stroud was not good yesterday for the Texans. That's not just looking at the box score where he had 86 yards. If you watch the game, he was not good yesterday against the Packers, right?
Yep.
So when you take a look at Patrick Mahomes, I think if you were to pull out his stats, you would say, all right, you didn't have a good day, man. Like, yeah, 2 interceptions and didn't throw for 200 yards, and it wasn't a good day. I think yesterday was the prime example of why you shouldn't just look at a box score, because the run from Mahomes for 33 yards down the sideline, not out of bounds, reminiscent of the AFC title game. Then, of course, the touchdown run he had where he trucks a dude at the goal line. Those are plays that I don't give a damn what the stats are. I don't care that you pull up the MVP odds, and yes, somehow he is a favorite still, and you say, how is he that?
When he's got 6 touchdowns. He's on pace for 17 touchdowns and 22 interceptions this year.
It is,
and a career low in yardage.
It's not a good statistical season for him. That's true. But anybody suggesting at all, I know you're not in Kansas City, but outside of Kansas City, anybody suggesting at all that he would still not be the first choice by a mile for you to have as your starting quarterback, you're not watching the games. You're just looking at a box score. Yesterday in particular, Cody, I just felt was the prime example. He went out and made winning plays. Yeah, the numbers weren't good, but he made winning plays, and his team is 6-0. We don't do QB win stats very often, win-loss record, but yesterday was a deal. If they would have lost the game, maybe we feel differently. I don't know. His performance, they won by 10 points and was really more than that. The stats don't tell the story sometimes. That to me that's what I'm trying to say with his performance.
So some weeks, it's so funny because some weeks I do think you can explain it away, but I don't want to try to explain away the bad statistical season he's having overall, because I don't think he's thrown the deep pass well. I do think he's been a little too careless with the football. But yesterday's 2 interceptions were a ball batted down on the line pick, which usually I'm just like, whatever. I mean, they happen, but Mahomes didn't make some ill-advised decision that led to an interception. And the other one, Xavier Worthy fell down. Whether he got shoved to the ground or whatever. His feet stopped being on the ground, and instead his body was on there. People were getting caught up in the semantics yesterday, I think, on social.
Oh, boy.
He got pulled, whatever. I don't care. He was on the ground.
He lost his footing, however you want to phrase it.
I don't really care what I don't want somebody, because the text line operates like Twitter, where it's going to be like, well, he didn't fall down. I don't care. He was on the ground. Is that ball picked? If Xavier Worthy stays on his 2 feet, probably not. Xavier Worthy had inside leverage. He was underneath the man who made the interception when he made his break. By the time the ball got there, you would assume, maybe it's not complete, but I assume it's not intercepted. And so yesterday, while he finished with 0 passing touchdowns and 2 interceptions, you could look at that stat and be like, I don't know, man. They moved the ball really well. There was a quarter when I thought Mahomes kind of shut down. I thought he looked bad from about the mid-second quarter, or around half, to about the mid-third quarter to the beginning of the fourth. That was the only time of the game where I thought, Mahomes doesn't look very good. The offense doesn't look very good, and they're not moving the ball. The other 3 quarters, I felt like the offense was effective, worked well, did a nice job. And so I can't just look at the stats yesterday and bury Mahomes. Yesterday was, once again, one of the better games of the season for him. The last 2 games are 2 of the better games he's played all year. In the early part of the season, that's where I thought the offense seemed completely out of whack. I actually kind of feel like they have a plan now.
They do, and again, that goes back to our earlier conversation in the first segment about Andy Reid, and nobody's better at just finding ways to get all these pieces. Because this is, again, why the stats can't just be the only story. Nuances required, either watching the game yesterday or also recognizing that he was down to, for at least one drive, McCole Hardman, Sky Moore, Justin Watson, Noah Gray, and Travis Kelce. That was who he was throwing the football to. At one point, that was who he had an option to throw the ball to. So that also has to be part of the conversation, that the guy that was his number 1 receiver heading into the year, Rashee Rice, is done. What we thought would be the number 2 receiver hasn't played a snap all year for this team in Hollywood Brown. Like, other teams have injuries, but I'm just saying, like, there is so much more to the story that is required for why it has resulted statistically in this kind of season. But yesterday is why I kind of just laugh about the stats this year, because whether it's a playoff game or that you know that Patrick Mahomes, 99% of the time, is going to make the play that actually matters.
So the 2 winning plays, and there were more than 2, but the 2 winning plays you're obviously describing were on the same drive. It is the 33-yard scramble in which Patrick Mahomes dekes a throw, dances on the sideline, very reminiscent of the Tennessee Titans run in the playoffs of his first Super Bowl run. And then, of course, the 1-yard run in which he absolutely truck-sticked San Francisco defender I always want to say Mufasa. Be careful. Mustafa.
It was close.
It's definitely not Mufasa.
Although he pretty much was like Scar to Mufasa in that moment, just sending him to his inevitable death. But Mustafa, who's standing there in the goal line getting absolutely run over, those 2 plays are why you love Mahomes. Now, I will say, I was surprised. Did you see how many San Francisco 49ers fans were complaining that they need to make that play illegal, like the Kenny Pickett slide, because it's forcing the defender into a no-win situation, as in, if they hit him, it's a 15-yard penalty, but if they don't, those aren't the same at all.
You can still shove him. You can still shove him a little bit.
Yeah, no one's forcing you to not push him out of bounds.
Yeah, maybe you can't. You're right. Maybe near the sideline, you feel like you can't go full steam ahead and tackle the guy because of that. I think that's maybe a fair, makes it tough for a defender. But yeah, you can still put your hands on him. Nobody touched him around the sideline. That's just loser talk is all that is from Niners fans. I haven't seen that, if that's really what they're saying.
Oh, it is, yeah. Very much so.
That's loser talk if that's the case. And also, even if you want to have that discussion, any of the great quarterbacks in this league have found one way to get a leg up within the current rules of the game. So that's stupid.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't care if it's this slant always works. It's like the guy who's playing. If it's working at the NFL level, people aren't going to stop doing it. But the tush push is a whole different conversation because that play is just not fun to watch. I told you, with the Eagles last year, there's a lot of people. The NFL looked at banning that play. They decided not to. But it's an NFL play.
But it's an NFL play, so they're going to keep on doing it. It's not banned, so I don't think that run from Mahomes is a hell of a lot more entertaining than a tush push. I'll tell you that.
Sure, but taking out entertainment aside, both of those plays are legal, and if they work, why wouldn't you do them? I am so glad he ran over Mustafa on that play because as that play was being snapped, it's not revisionist history because he scored the touchdown, so it would make less sense if I complained about it. Them shotgun snapping from the half-yard line, once I want to pull my hair out.
Every team's doing that in the
Shotgun
league,
snap from the half-yard
happens every week, man.
Carson Wentz was in the game earlier. Just let him sneak in.
I got excited when by the way, I'll admit, I got excited when I saw Carson Wentz come in near the goal line. You're like, why are you excited to take Patrick Mahomes off the field? The reason why I was excited, I now have at least a little bit of hope that Andy Reid is willing to do what we and others have said for years since the Denver knee injury game, which is just put in the backup, in this case Carson Wentz, and let him maybe do the QB sneak because we know, I get it, whatever, you won't do it with Patrick Mahomes. And I said, wow. They were willing to put Carson Wentz in that weird play. Maybe, just maybe, there's another wrinkle later. Either an actual QB sneak, an actual QB sneak, or a fake QB sneak, something different. Normally, I obviously don't want to take 15 off the field. But, man, there's plenty of times where we see QB sneaks are very successful plays. We know they won't do it with Mahomes. So I have now renewed hope that Carson Wentz might actually, come playoff time, get in a game on a crucial goal line situation, and they maybe, just maybe, will let him go QB sneak.
Like Mahomes, it is so funny. And I don't know at what point in his career that he won't be able to use his legs the way he's able to use them now. The whole, he's one step faster than everybody who's chasing him. And it doesn't matter if that guy's got 4.3 speed, and he's also stronger than anyone apparently trying to tackle him. I mean, we mentioned earlier, if you look at the way Mustafa is built,
yeah, the guy is jacked. He also was earlier in the game just leveling guys, playing incredible. That time, Mahomes, what it called leverage, obviously was a huge part of that.
Like his feet were kind of under him.
It was leverage.
He was leaning back a little bit. I think as Mahomes said, I'm a little thicker.
Yeah.
So
the dad bod won that one, though. The dad bod definitely won that one over the guy that, is absolutely ripped. So good for Mahomes.
Maybe we can have a later conversation later this week of like, how would you grade Patrick Mahomes' season so far? But yesterday's kind of the embodiment of it. Do I think Patrick Mahomes has played perfect football this season? No. Am I down on the way Patrick Mahomes plays football as a whole as it relates to this team's ability to win? Also, no.
Right.
Like, they obviously are not being held back by Patrick Mahomes.
If there was one thing out of the game yesterday, though, that I think could have some lasting ramification to bring up at least a conversation of, hey, what do you do? But also, can they still play at this level? That would be the Jalen Watson news. It's not official from the team, but as I said, multiple reports now that Jalen Watson broke his ankle, likely done for the year, although Ian Rappaport left the window open a little bit. The team, and Andy's going to speak at noon. I don't even know if Andy will tell us it's a broken ankle yet or not.
Guys are just getting in. Haven't talked to Jalen yet.
It might be that.
I'll get that news to you
He's
later.
getting some imaging done this morning. I haven't talked to him yet, kind of thing. We might get that, but we know how this usually works. There's way too many reputable national people reporting that it's a broken ankle for it not to be a broken ankle. So that's a huge loss.
At least that being the fear that it is.
Sure. It's a big loss for this team that has really solidified the number 2 cornerback spot after the questions in camp. Jalen Watson took a stranglehold of that job. He's been fantastic all year. So to lose him is a huge deal. I mean, Najee Johnson / Josh Williams are going to have to step up. And naturally, it'll get fans asking about the trade market. Who could be available? That is, even more than wide receiver, dude, that's a position where they really have not gone and traded assets or given the big contract to. And so that's why I'm skeptical. I know Zach Gelb over at the Infinity Sports Network threw out a name that I know he doesn't know the backstory, and I'm not saying he's wrong because he had Patrick Peterson on his show recently. I saw him throw out that name as someone because he's a free agent, and I was like, is this 2018 again? I mean, that was a name we were all saying they should get from the Cardinals.
5 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago. Are we really doing? He's on the street right now, and I know the other guys they pulled off the street have worked out. But is that really where we're going with this? I don't know. I was stunned to see that name get brought up, at least from one national radio host. I think they'll look at bringing some more depth at minimum. I don't know if they'll trade for someone, but they're going to have some more depth if Jalen Watson's out for the year.
So I've been wrong before. I could be wrong again. Feel free to throw this in my face later on. They'll be fine. This is a nothing injury. And you're like, but how?
A nothing
It's
injury.
their starting cornerback. I don't care. I told you that after the way this season started after 5 games, I will never again in my life fall for the trap that this team can't recover from a missing corner under any circumstance. They weren't even sure themselves Jalen Watson was the dude up until week 2 of the regular season when they finally started giving him more starter snaps. They'll be fine with Joshua Williams or Najee Johnson. Doesn't really matter which of those two guys go in there. I feel bad for Jalen Watson. He's a very good player. The person who steps up in his place will also be a very good player. You will see no drop-off in the defense's ability. That's why you'll see no drop-off in the defense's ability to stop teams or stop wide receivers. I have far too much evidence to support that versus the other, which is this is actually going to set them back.
Yeah, me bringing this up, do I think they can't win the Super Bowl now? No, because we've
already covered that.
We've covered that. I think the concern would just be like, all right, what level, if any, of a drop off is there? You're saying you don't think there'll be any.
Zero.
I think that to me is a very, very optimistic way to look at Najee Johnson. and Josh Williams. I think the reason why I can't call you crazy for that at all is because Steve Spagnuolo exists, and he's this team's defensive coordinator, and Dave Merritt exists, and he's this team's secondary coach, and they have time and time again gone out there and continue to progress and develop guys.
Line.
And so I'm with you. I think Jalen Watson, though, is a better football player than Najee Johnson or Josh Williams. I mean, we agree with that.
There's zero difference in the defensive level they'll play at. I agree with you.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think I think that's still discrediting Jalen Watson a little bit. I want to see, as the season goes on, yes, for the immediate, like next week against the Raiders, not going to be a problem. Okay, who's their number one receiver these days in Las Vegas? I legit don't know. Oh, Jacoby Myers. They don't have Devontae Adams anymore. Jacoby Myers is their number one receiver. Brock Bowers, the tight end, is a bigger problem, but we all know this story. Let him get his 95 yards. Doesn't really matter.
10 for 95 this last week.
Yeah, that's not a big deal. I would be curious to see, though, if they were to look in the free agent market or trade market to see some depth. Because, I mean, they are thinner naturally at corner. Yes. That would be where, but they don't need to go out and trade for like a legit number one, number two corner suddenly. That'd be stupid.
No, because Trent McDuffie makes all of that stuff so much easier. That's the part that we always have to keep in mind. He eliminates half the field. You can roll coverage to the other side of the field. They have really good safety play. Leo Chanel was great again yesterday. Like they can cover it. That's a position where they can absorb it. On the defensive line, absolutely not. Anywhere on offense anymore, I start to feel like absolutely not because of the sheer number of people they've lost. But I don't know. They just won a game by 10 in which they lost the other wide receiver for at least the entire game. So at least there's some part of it where I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like, I know that there's a breaking point. I know we've talked about where like there's a certain amount of water the canoe can take on before it eventually tips. But on defense, specifically at the cornerback position, there's been no position they've been better at covering any amount of loss, whether it be off season or in season, than that particular spot. They want to go after some veteran? Okay. I think the text line's crazy for bringing up Marcus Peters like 10 times today. They don't talk about I don't know. I mean, he was doing all kinds of stuff. Kareem Hunt was like he minded his business in the building. Does that make sense? Like, he got in trouble off the field. Inside the building, Marcus Peters was problematic for a number of Chiefs.
Yeah, that gets into the weird conversation of like everybody's playing moral high ground stuff.
Too.
Like, which, off field, in the building, what actually is worse, but we're talking about football.
I'm just talking about based on Andy Reid's desire to have them back. More so than like moral superiority of where you were getting in trouble. I'm just saying Andy wants a no distraction in building, everyone working on the same page. Peters worked against that sometimes. He was harder to deal with in the building, right? In the building is where Andy Reid cares. Honest to God, I don't think Andy Reid cares about off the field at all, period. I think if it were his choice, those things wouldn't even matter. He would like be allowed to have like the severance switch. But if Andy Reid had a choice, he would choose to be severed from the work life, from the real life. And the only thing Andy Reid ever knew about was football and choosing football players inside his building. And severed off of the rest of his life would be things that happened off the field regarding players, whether, and he would just live his life in that way. That's why I was saying Marcus Peters might be a tougher sell if you're Andy Reid. That's all. I don't know if you've seen Severance or if that reference makes any sense to you, Gold.
I have not seen it, but it's pretty obvious what you're trying to say. I can picture it. I can definitely picture that. We'll see, obviously, the next couple of weeks. I mean, just based off of who's testing the secondary, I just mentioned the Raiders. You start looking at their schedule, then it's the Bucs. I think that'll be the game, Cody, perhaps where we'll notice if there's the real drop-off when you're going up against a Mike Evans and a Chris Godwin. This is a team we all know has done great against number one receivers. Part of that is, number one, McDuffie. He's still around. That's the biggest thing. But also, to do that, that means Jalen Watson also is playing at a high level. So in 2 weeks, when they play the Bucs back here in Kansas City on Monday Night Football, and it's Godwin and it's Evans.
Probably the best two receivers they faced.
Basically, to me, they got 2 weeks. They got a week and a half to get Josh Williams or Najee Johnson play elevated, because Najee Johnson admittedly was thrown in a tough spot all of a sudden yesterday. The few snaps he was at, and as far as primary
he got
corner,
picked on deep on one.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great. Let's be real about it. But we'll see. I trust the coaching staff. But I think we'll get our answers on that, both in the Bucs game, which is the day before the trade deadline. So, I mean, if they go out in the Bucs and their secondary gets torched out of nowhere for the first time all year, maybe that causes them to go think otherwise about trading or not trading. for somebody in particular. Coming up in 8 minutes, we'll talk about Kareem Hunt a little bit more because he continues. He's on a 3-game stretch right now that is pretty remarkable, considering that he also was a free agent off the street where things are at. We'll also talk about Deshaun Watson and his injury. But last night, Sunday Night Football, Jets, Steelers, ended up being a blowout in favor of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I must say there's a balance here, but Mike Tomlin deserves some credit. I think everybody on this show and a lot of people nationally said, hey, what the hell are you doing by taking out Justin Fields, who's been winning games for you? Like, honestly, like, what are you doing? That was something we said. Yeah. So he deserves credit because he starts Russell Wilson. They win. They have their best offensive performance, I believe, of the season. They definitely had some deep threat passing they haven't had. That is all true, and Mike Tomlin deserves credit for that. I also think, at the same time, let's not act like Russell Wilson was just throwing dimes the entire night. There was a lot of, like, you and I, when we were 12 years old, playing 500 or jackpot in the backyard, just throw it up and hope you make a play kind of stuff. And George Pickens had some great catches yesterday. There were some that were off the back shoulder of defenders, and Pickens was catching. So a win's a win. Russell Wilson deserves credit for his performance, but let's not act like Russell Wilson now is back to being top 10 Russell Wilson because of last night's performance against the Jets team that is an absolute joke.
We just talked about box score. If you looked at Russell Wilson's box score versus Patrick Mahomes, you'd be like, well, Russell Wilson was the better quarterback yesterday. He did not make a single decent throw for like a whole half of football yesterday.
Much better in the second half.
No, I mean, just like all bad. Like just nowhere near defenders, looked uncomfortable, rushed out of pockets, all those things. It's fine. I mean, I'll give Tomlin credit down the road if it doesn't deter them from winning more games. I'm not going to do it after one. Tomlin has won with a lot of different quarterbacks over the years. He's continued to do that. Still made no sense to me why you would switch quarterbacks. And yeah, to the point that Collinsworth was like, I mean, he sounded, oh man, did you see that throw from us?
Unlimited diarrhea.
Collinsworth could not have been more excited about the deep balls from Russell Wilson's. And again, some of them hit defenders before they went in the receiver's hands. That's not that cool. It's not that impressive of a throw. George Pickens might be the best contested catch guy in the entire NFL. I'll say that.
He was great last night.
But, like, I don't know. Let me see a game or two more of Russ. I knew what they had in Justin Fields, and I saw how they were winning with Justin Fields. Get a couple games in with Russ before I start
flip side,
giving the pat on the back.
On the flip side, the Jets. What's next? Like, honestly, like what? Who's left? Their next thing, they'll cut the kicker today. Greg Zuerlein will get cut because of the block kicks.
He stinks, man.
He's been awful.
Really
so they'll
bad.
cut him. That'll be their next excuse. I mean, there's honestly nothing else left after cutting the kicker. They're done.
Yeah, they're done. They got the Patriots this week.
They do get Hassan Reddick back too.
Good chance.
Officially.
So that's their savior now.
I know.
I'm just saying.
I know. No, I know you're not. But like. They're just,
They play the Jets, or they play the...
First it was, let's fire Robert Saleh. It's his fault. Let's demote Nathaniel Hackett. It's his fault. Well, it's Mike Williams' fault. Let's go trade for Devontae Adams. Oh, now it's Greg Zuerlein's fault. Who's next?
Mike Williams played yesterday.
Maybe it is a certain player that you sold your soul to is not playing good football because he's kind of old. Maybe. Just maybe that's what it is.
Probably it.
I think the defense also is not as good as they have been, and I don't know if it's a solid thing or not, but if you look at the roster, you're like, they have
it's a lot of talent.
10, 15 Pro Bowlers almost on the roster. Sauce Gardner, Hassan Reddick, Quinnen Williams, Breece Hall, Alan Lazard is having a ridiculously good year. Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson.
And two interceptions
Rodgers.
from Aaron Rodgers in that game. One was a pick six, or one was down at the one, basically a pick six.
I will say this: if the Chiefs have the best defense, the Steelers might have the second best defense. They have
they're the same team.
As we've said over and over the last 3 weeks, they are basically the same team. Obviously, I'd rather have Patrick Mahomes than Russell Wilson, but they are the same team.
Incredibly well,
insane.
They incredibly well coached. Great defensive play. Run it before they throw it. Opportunistic, all those things.
Up next, thinking of running the football, let's talk about Kareem Hunt and what he's been doing the last couple of weeks. And we will discuss the AFC North, the key injury there in Cleveland with Deshaun Watson, and more so the reaction with the fans as he was hurt.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
There's still some time left this season to get those concrete and asphalt needs taken care of. Go to Gann Asphalt and Concrete, where one contractor will take care of all things parking lot for you. One call to Gann to take care of it all. They'll handle it all, whether it's those bad-looking curbs or some of the ramps or bumper blocks. You know which things are falling apart. People just chipped into them enough. Time is not on your side, and those things have slowly fallen apart. You want somebody who's going to take care of this problem for the long haul. Gann is a local company serving local businesses in the Kansas City community for 30 years. That's how you know these other local businesses have been trusting them. Look, whether you're looking forward to 2025 and you're like, okay, what are the things we're trying to do to our business to make sure the customers like what we see, and you want to get on the books now, great. Or you're saying, let's get these projects taken care of before another winter season puts a beating on our business. It's the first thing any client sees is your parking lot. And when you don't take care of it, they're worried you're not going to take care of them. So call Gann Asphalt and Concrete and see for yourself where they can do that for you. That's GANNasphalt.com.
If you've been thinking about selling your home, what's holding you back? Whether it's a bad experience or even a lack of experience, home selling can be stressful. The key is to trust an expert who has your best interest at heart, and that's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Dawn is the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home, and she can even give you an instant offer if you want to skip the showings. Google my friend Dawn and her team at Sharp Homes Team and see over 200 5-star reviews, or check them out at homesforsaleInKC.com and start packing.
Successfully treated their erectile dysfunction, but one thing we hear the most is, why didn't I get treated sooner? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with ED and all the emotional and relationship problems it causes, don't wait. Call us today. ED is simply a medical condition like any other, and for most men, it's fully treatable, which means you can get your sex life back. And I'm not talking about sex that's just okay, by the way. I'm talking about good sex with the ability to enjoy intimacy without the anxiety that affects so many men who have ED. In fact, you might find you're performing like you haven't in years. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated thousands of men with protocols that are successful in well over 90% of cases. And we have a variety of treatments and treatment combinations so you can get the one that's right for you. So stop waiting and call us. Your first visit includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Something big is happening at Hy-Vee. We've just lowered thousands and thousands of prices on thousands and thousands of items in every aisle and in every department. Online, too. And on many of your favorite products, we've even matched prices with some of the biggest discount stores in the country. Because we get it, times are still tough. So we'll continue to work hard to bring you new lower prices on thousands of items. Things are looking different at Hy-Vee. Come see for yourself.
Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. This year, I get to host, and Hy-Vee's going to make it convenient for me. They have made fresh, ready to heat and serve favorites like succulent turkey, honey glazed spiral ham, prime rib, savory side dishes, and dessert. Hy-Vee's Taste of the Holidays event is coming up Saturday, November 2nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can sample all of the amazing ready-to-serve meal pack options or just get a little holiday inspiration. This holiday season, let Hy-Vee do the cooking while you take the credit, only at Hy-Vee.
It's Derek Johnson, and this season, Sheep Metalworkers Local Number 2 are awarding one lucky school a $15,000 facilities enrichment grant. Tell us in 100 words why your school deserves the grant at helpmymocanschool.com and make this the best school season ever.
Enjoy all the NFL action with a chance to win on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win a bet on this week's games. I like to check out the FanDuel squares. Maybe you haven't done that before. It's kind of what you're used to around the big game as well. If the last digit of each team's score matches your square, you win. They'll show you the odds right there. It is fantastic to play throughout the NFL season. All you got to do is just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus is issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
It's time to review the top 3 highlights of the day. I'm joined as always by my co-anchor Snoop.
Hey, what up, though?
Snoop, number 1 has to be getting the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence at T-Mobile.
Yeah, you should hustle down to T-Mobile like a dog chasing a squirrel chasing a nut.
Nice analogy, Snoop. Dogs do love to chase squirrels.
And squirrels love to chase those nuts.
On to highlight number 2. At T-Mobile, families can save 20% every month versus the other big guys.
That is very impressive. You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
That's exactly what I'm planning on doing with my savings, Snoop. Now, take it away, Snoop.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on them. Now drop that jingle.
24 monthly bill credits. Eligible trade-in on Go 5G Next. Well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 connection charge. Cancel entire account before receiving 24 bill credits, and credit stop and balance on required finance agreement due. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? Well, Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has helped over 35,000 families out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares, and they may be able to help you too. If you were misled into signing a timeshare agreement that is a lifetime commitment, if you were told timeshare is a great investment or your maintenance fees will never go up, you need to get the facts about timeshare cancellation. For over 10 years, Wesley Financial Group has been dedicated to helping folks get out of a lifetime of debt by canceling their timeshares. So they created a timeshare exit information kit, which reveals how the timeshare industry works and what your options are for cancellation. Simply call Wesley right now and they will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free. See how you can become timeshare free. Call 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. Again, 800-761-0000.
What's up, KC? It's Trent McDuffie. Catch the play-by-play all season long with Mitch, Danon, and Clean right here on your home of the Chiefs. 96.5 The Fan.
KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City in Odyssey Sports Station.
Coming up 1 hour from now, we'll head out to Arrowhead. Going to hear from Andy Reid exclusively here on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. That's every Monday during Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Just a couple days away from heading out to Las Vegas. We'll be out there. If you are going to be there for Chiefs Raiders this weekend, you're flying. A few of you have messaged me and said, hey, I'm flying in Friday like at 8:30. So we got to the party. Goes 7 to 9 on Friday night at Circa. We would love for you to make it to that, obviously. And you can text in 913-586-7965 for an RSVP link. It's free to RSVP. It gets you a free drink. It gets you entered to win tickets to the game on Sunday. It gets you entered to win a day bed at the pool. I also found out it's not just tickets to the game. It's also transportation to and from the game. So it's a heck of a setup. So you definitely want to RSVP for that party. But if not, yeah, we'll be there on Saturday. I'm staying through the weekend, but Cody, I don't know what you're with your wife or whatever, what you're doing on Saturday, but I'll be watching college football, I'm sure, somewhere. So if you want to hang out, some of you have asked.
The largest sports book in
the
world, U.S.?
It is in the in the world.
World.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if they said the United States or the world.
Largest sports book in the world, and then the pool. I looked at the weather keeps getting warmer and warmer. It's been like 88 degrees. We'll be doing our shows there Thursday and Friday as well. So if you're there even earlier in the week and you just want to stop by, I know I have some friends flying out as well. I know you have some people flying out on Thursday and Friday. So we hope to see you guys there. It's going to be a great time, and we can't wait to return to Vegas, where the Chiefs, of course, won their latest Super Bowl. And later in the week, we'll have some fun with the stupid training camp comments from the Raiders with the whole Kermit the Frog thing, and plus, how the hell did Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders win the Christmas Day game last year? We'll get into all that later on.
Won't even be Aiden O'Connell. He's officially out, broken thumb, out 4 to 6 weeks. So
I wish he was playing instead of Gardner Minshew. I don't think the Chiefs have to worry about anything, but I would rather, if you had a choice, I would rather Aiden O'Connell play than Gardner Minshew.
Yeah,
personally.
Yeah, but I don't think it matters. They both stink. Yeah. Every day that passes, it grows increasingly hilarious that the Kareem Hunt was available to any of the 32 teams, and instead they allowed him to go to the two-time defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs, a team in offense he was already familiar with. He could have signed with anybody. You know how many teams could have used a player like Kareem Hunt and what he has given to the Chiefs, and he was just on the street available? This does hurt the argument for anybody like, no team wants him. How good could he be?
That's true.
I don't know.
That's fair.
pretty good, it turns out.
I think in the Chiefs, also, this is one other one where it's like, hey, the team he's going to definitely matters in this. Would he be doing this if he was in Buffalo? Or Buffalo's a bad example. I don't know. You have my point, like Dallas. I don't know.
I don't know.
He'd be getting a workload. I don't know if he'd be doing this.
He wasn't as good last year, but he was hurt, it turns out.
There's something to be said still about Andy Reid and scheme and the way they're able to scheme it up. But you're right. Kareem Hunt has been sensational. Last 3 games, 249 on the ground and 3 touchdowns. Those are big time. I haven't looked up what Derrick Henry's done the last 3 weeks, but my guess is that's like top 5 running back stuff the last 3 weeks in the NFL. To have 3 touchdowns, 249, maybe just outside the top 5. I think Derrick Henry's probably had better 3-week numbers right now, but not many others in the league have been better than that the last 3 weeks. He had 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yesterday, they rushed for 184. You have to go back to that Jets game week 4 when we were hosting our party with Vinny. By the way, when they ran for 204 against the Jets, the last time the Chiefs had that kind of success. Now, Patrick Mahomes also actually contributed, 40-something yards to that rush total yesterday. It was just a sensational effort, but that's part of the formula of how they're going to have to win going forward. And thank goodness they had Kareem Hunt, Cody. Because of the injuries, there is a case to be made. Injuries are a hell of a thing. That outside of Travis Kelce right now, as they are currently constructed, Kareem Hunt might be their second best offensive weapon. Hell, he might be their best right this second.
Somebody pointing out he did have 3 blocks himself on a Patrick Mahomes run. So it's like he's doing all the little stuff too. I just can't believe he was available. He is their second best offensive weapon outside. I'd still give it to Travis Kelce, but as number 1. But outside of that, or I guess Noah Gray, no, it's Kareem Hunt. It's obviously Kareem Hunt. I just didn't realize he had this kind of juice left. What this tells us is that sometimes we talk circumstance like it's just quarterback. Like that's the only place in which the things around you make a difference. I pointed this out with James White a couple of weeks ago because I thought it was valid. Some guys will do, like McCole Hardman will never be as good of a player here or anywhere else as he is here. Kareem Hunt might be falling into that trap where here is where he's at his best. But the truth is, it's not just like they're scheming him up and it's working. Man's running hard. He's breaking tackles. He's hitting the hole. He has been their most talented running back here for a while. I don't know what the hell they're going to do when and if Pacheco comes back and they've got to go a true 2-back system. But this doesn't seem like a bad problem to have.
Well, I think it's a great thing when Pacheco comes back because much like we've discussed with other additions, to this team that have injury history or they're just older, can Kareem Hunt do this for another 15 games or 14 games or whatever? I don't know if he can, just in terms of his body and staying fresh. Like, is he going to be worn out before the playoffs? So I actually think, it's imperative that when the time comes, we assume Pacheco will be back. When that time comes, neither one of them probably is capable of carrying the workload at this point. He's coming back of an injury. Kareem Hunt, to me, there's still going to be some concern about him wearing out. So, no, it should be a split. When the two are back. I mean, they'll need it. It'll need it to be that, to keep both fresh come playoff time. It's so different in Kansas City than everywhere else. Everywhere else is like, hey, we got go full steam ahead. They just got to get to the playoffs. Here, that's not the concern. That's not the conversation. It's about making sure they're ready to go in the postseason. So I think they approach it specifically at this running back spot differently than another team would. Another team would be like, oh, we'll just keep feeding Kareem Hunt the ball 25 times a game. We don't care. I think the Chiefs are smart enough to recognize that when Pacheco is back, they can't do that. Hell, the last drive or two against San Francisco, you probably noticed, they gave the ball to Kareem Hunt, but Carson Steele, Pirine was in that game. Hell, if Clyde Edwards-Helaire was available, they would have given the ball to him. Like, they were making sure that they didn't wear him out too much even down the stretch. Keep fresh legs.
Once the game was in hand, they were like, okay, we're done running Kareem. What stood out the most probably is he is better, and this includes Pacheco. Since Kareem Hunt left, no running back in between Kareem Hunt and Kareem Hunt is what I'm saying, is better at finding the end zone. It's an underrated skill, man. The guy's good down there. He's got a nose for it. He finds it. He's good at finding the small creases that exist inside of the 4-yard line, 5-yard line, where those little, it's not all tough earned yards. You can't just run into the back of someone and hope to plow your way into the end zone. You have to find little tiny creases to sliver your body through in order to get those 6 inches to put yourself into the end zone. That's what he does so well. The other runs are great too. I'm not saying, obviously, he's been a tremendous running back for them in the 2 weeks since he's returned, especially because you would think that they'd be inching closer back to the line of scrimmage just because who the hell is left to throw to? But even considering that, doesn't matter. Kareem Hunt, I feel like he's running like he wants to prove to the Chiefs he's sorry or something. Like he's running like, I'm sorry about all that time I wasn't here, and I'm going to earn your respect back every single time I touch the football from now until I'm done playing for you.
Yeah, I mean, there might be some truth to that. I think the other part to that point, Cody, is that, maybe it's not so much like to show I'm sorry, but also like, hey, I'm going to make the most of this opportunity because I know what happened when I lost that.
I blew it.
I think it's probably a combination of the two, where it's like, I know that I could have been part of all these championship teams, but I screwed up. And now I'm not going to I'm not going to screw up again. I'm going to make sure that I make the most out of this maybe last opportunity that I'm going to ever have. And that's what he's doing. And
7 yards a game, a touchdown a game. It's impressive. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what production you were expecting out of Kareem Hunt. It wasn't this.
No, hell no. Absolutely not.
It wasn't. Look,
no.
And this is what's always so crazy about Andy Reid and running backs is Carson Steele would still be the starter probably for this team if he held on to the football. Isn't that wild? Like, I'm not even kidding. If Carson Steele just never fumbled the football, he might have 70 yards a game and a touchdown a game. I don't know.
Yeah.
He obviously doesn't go down without a fight. And he was definitively the starter when Kareem first made it back onto the team, and that's how Andy treats it. Maybe it would have been a 50-50 share,
if Kareem
but it
Hunt
wouldn't have been 100% of the time Kareem Hunt, but then Carson couldn't hold on to the ball, and Kareem's been great.
And I wonder if Kareem Hunt was running this successfully in limited carries, if they would just continue to give him more and more, and we would have seen him overtake the job anyway. I don't know. But it definitely made it easy, and there was no doubt by the time they were done with that Chargers game who the number one running back for this football team was. Or is, and that's Kareem Hunt. And then hopefully Pacheco is available late November or something. I can't remember where we at in the progress of the timeline. It's been how many weeks now? He got hurt in the last home game.
Week 2.
Right?
Week 2, yeah.
Second to last home game, I guess.
Week 3?
Yeah, week 2. So anyway.
It was against the Bengals. It was week 2.
There you go. I figured you would remember that one.
Hey, Bengals are almost 500 again.
They are. And
who do they have this week, Drew? Or next week?
He's talking to somebody.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not sure. It's all good.
Wait, who's he talking to?
I don't know. Who was that?
Is there someone in the building?
No, Sophie came in and wanted to make sure that we're doing like bios, and I haven't sent her my information yet.
Oh.
Can we write your bio for you in the text line? Can we write your bio and see what the text line would come up with?
It's probably not.
Let's do Mad Libs. I'll put noun, adjective, and you guys can just fill in the rest of the bio.
You guys are throwing shade at the Bengals. They are.
I said they're almost 500.
We weren't throwing any shade. That's why we were trying to talk to you. We were actually going to say something positive for once. They've finally done something positive. The only thing I would say is they were playing Cleveland, and they still made it very interesting late. You guys should be worried that DTR was playing instead of Deshaun.
The Browns always play their best football when they play the Bengals.
We brought up Cincy, though, because I want to talk about Cleveland for a second. And the story out of that game is not just that Cleveland lost and Cincinnati won. It's that Deshaun Watson's done for the season. It's been confirmed now, I believe, in the last hour or so.
Report about an hour ago.
Ruptured Achilles, right? He's done. And who knows what his long-term future is and everything like that. DTR/Jameis Winston will be the quarterback the rest of the way. The story, though, that has people talking is fans had a similar situation what we experienced here in Kansas City many, many years ago with Matt Castle, which was an injured player gets hurt and fans are cheering. Just listen to this. There's also, you'll hear some boos because Chubb is... You just listen to the audio.
That's right when he gets hurt.
Yeah, by the way, I saw that audio is terrible. I couldn't even. That
but when you hear that roar in the crowd, that
audio is awful. I thought we had something clearer than that. Sorry, that's nobody's fault. But I was like, holy crap! I saw it labeled. It says Watson boos and cheers. I did not know.
You can hear somebody say in the background, "Oh, the boos are raining down." Or something.
Anyway,
like that.
The point is that there were boos and there were cheers for Deshaun Watson getting hurt, and we all know the Eric Winston, Matt Castle scenario.
That's almost exactly what it was.
So Matt Castle, who had not been playing well, got hurt. And Eric Winston was very upset after the game then. It reminded all of us of that exact circumstance yesterday.
We are athletes, okay? We are athletes. We're not gladiators. This isn't the Roman Coliseum. People pay their money, hard-earned money, to come in here. And I believe they can boo, they can cheer, they can do whatever they want. Because I believe that, hey, we're lucky to play this game, a game, to come in here and People, it's hard economic times, and they still pay the money to do this, okay? But when somebody gets hurt, there are long-lasting ramifications to the game we play. Long-lasting ramifications to the game we play. All right? I've already kind of come to the understanding I probably won't live as long because I play this game, and that's okay. That's the choice I've made. That's a choice all of us has made. But when you cheer somebody getting knocked out, I don't care who it is, and it just so happened to be Matt Castle, it's sickening. It's 100% sickening.
That was the whole
that is a classic,
it's a classic clip in Kansas City sports history. Sickening and disgusting. We're not gladiators.
These two circumstances, I'm just going to put it.
Eric Winston was not on the team the next year, by the way. Go ahead.
These two circumstances are not the same. Matt Castle was just a nice person who is a model citizen, and I'm using that word on purpose, a model citizen who happened to be playing bad football, who got booed because Kansas City fans were at their end, right? They were at their end. They couldn't take losing football anymore. It felt like Matt Castle was the reason. They were happy he was no longer in the game. It didn't mean anything, but the liquored up crowd cheered when they shouldn't have cheered for a guy getting hurt. Yesterday, screw every single Browns player who after the game tried to be holier than thou. Myles Garrett said he had been a model citizen, not just
factually inaccurate,
completely inaccurate, his entire life. If I'll just be honest, a Browns fan, I wouldn't have done it. I think I would have just had the normal reaction, which is like, karma's a bitch. But like, I don't blame them the way I would on the other end. Who cares? He's been a bad person by all accounts. And I don't know, dozens of settled sexual assault lawsuits he continues to go through, by the way. He just settled one 2 weeks ago. Model citizen. No. Yeah, like getting hurt probably stinks. Do I feel bad for Deshaun Watson even a little bit? No.
Obviously stinks. Obviously stinks, for his career and everything like that. But yeah, I think if there's any player, I don't know about here. I think you can feel the way that it sounds like you feel, and I agree for the most part, which is like, don't care for the guy. I think he's kind of a POS. That's all true. At the same time, I don't know if I'm standing up and cheering the injury though, right? There's still both. To
I think
me,
we're probably just looking at each other and be like, that's too bad.
Yeah, it's one of those like. I think that's probably what it is more than standing up and cheering. Now, Jameis Winston he's unintentionally funny at times, and yesterday's clip was another example.
The way I was raised, I was taught to love no matter the circumstances, especially for people who do right by you. I'm grateful that I had a chance to serve Deshaun, but I am very upset with the reaction to a man that has had the world against him for the past 4 years, and he put his body and life on the line for this city.
His life?
Every single day, regardless of your perception, regardless of what you thought should happen with him, he committed every single day that I've been here to be the best that he can be for this team. And I know I come from the deep south, Birmingham, Alabama, Bessemer, Alabama. So I know the standard that hungry fans want. But the way I was raised, I will never pull on a man when he's down.
I saw a lot of people after this game like, what a powerful statement from Jameis Winston. Okay.
Sounds like a TV speech from Friday Night Lights.
Okay. I think.
Are we sure he didn't say this about Matt Saracen after some loss?
In Cleveland, it's obviously the story today. Not only that their quarterback is out for the season, but the reaction from their fans, because we had something very similar. The difference was Matt Castle was an upstanding citizen, and Deshaun Watson is not. And I understand someone will text in and say he was never found guilty. 40 different women accused him. We saying all 40 were lying? I'm just saying. I don't think so. I don't think so.
2/3 of those, at least. That's the part that doesn't, this is the part where, if you're a teammate and you're in a building, I'm sure it's really difficult. But just don't lie about it to make the problem worse. The problem, Gold, is he stands up and he's like, for the last 4 years, everybody has been against him. Why, Jameis? Why? Why has everyone been against Deshaun Watson for the last 4 years?
He's not the victim. He's not the victim.
That'd be like, for the last 10 years, everyone was against the Menendez brothers. Yeah, why though? Why were people against them is the question to the answer here. It's not a mystery why people were like fighting against his, his happiness.
Have you been locked into that, by the way?
No, I haven't watched that yet. it's been in pop culture lately.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's all, it's made news. There's been press conferences, and they're trying to push the prosecuting attorney at the time, or now they're up the current prosecutor, I guess, to revisit that case. That's a whole nother conversation that we will not have on air today.
You don't want to get into the Menendez brothers?
No, but
I think it's all because of that Netflix doc. I guess I need to watch it. Supposedly it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I hear as well. All right, let's get to the trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
All right, so this goes to the UK, where a man claims to have spent thousands of dollars eating at his new favorite restaurant. That's not really a restaurant. It's a cafeteria. Hospital cafeteria, to be exact. This gentleman, 33 years old, told news agency out there that he's eaten more than 700 meals at various hospitals throughout the UK, spending a total of $13,000 since 2022. He goes on to say instead he's eating at hospitals because he finds the food to be excellent value for the price and because it's just plain good.
No?
Now you're wondering, like, what's the connection? Did he have a family member that worked at a hospital? He started eating at hospital cafeterias when he was visiting his father back in 2022 at a hospital after he worked late shifts. It was at that point he discovered he could get a meal of a baked potato, a drink, and a chocolate bar for less than $10. He said it satisfied his nostalgia for the meals he would eat at school. He said is both better tasting and better value food than fast food. Other than the actual taste of the food, the other problem I think would be weird with this, personally, sometimes like the hospital cafeteria, I understand there's also nurses and doctors that are eating there too, but some of the family members, they might have a family member that's been in ICU for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Not exactly a uplifting
It's
place.
not like going to the resident Cracker Barrel
and
rubbing elbos with the people at
Someone
the table
might have
next
just
to you.
found out that a family member had cancer. Someone might not know if their family member is going to live. Like, I just don't need to be around that just so I can get, quote, good value food.
The photo of the food makes it so unappealing.
Sometimes this guy's a genius.
A genius?
I don't know. Also,
700 meals at various hospitals. Yeah. And look, maybe it's better in the United Kingdom. I don't know. Like, maybe the meals are better because of universal health care. So I don't know.
You showed us a picture of the food, Gold. And it doesn't look good.
Also, I'll just be honest. A baked potato, a drink, and a chocolate bar for less than $10.
You're getting robbed.
Doesn't sound like that good of a deal. Dude, I could get that at Quick Trip. I could get a couple of taquitos, a drink, and a chocolate bar for less than $10.
Yeah.
What the hell am I going to the hospital?
That must be one banging baked potato. It's got to be like the best baked potato you've ever had in your life, I guess. I don't know.
Dude, it just, no.
Someone says he was just going there and using it for dating purposes. Somebody else said
dating purposes?
Well, the text line says maybe he was there. He turns on his Tinder profile and he's swiping.
I also just think hospitals are busy places where you're trying to keep out you're just trying to it doesn't feel like anyone should be able to just pop into the hospital unless they got something to be there. This is a place about business. You're either visiting someone who was in the hospital or you yourself need the hospital. I don't think I should just be allowed to kick it at the hospital. Okay. I feel like that's limited to the people who need to be there, not just want to get a cheap baked potato for lunch.
Someone says KU Hospital, legit, excellent cafeteria. That might be the case. Cody's like, what are you doing for lunch? Actually, you want to meet me at the KU Hospital cafeteria for lunch today? Like, what?
Wouldn't that be a weird thing I suggested?
Sure. Are you getting some tests done or? No, just want to stop in. Huh.
I don't. This doesn't make any sense at all to me.
That is the trash of the day. A little bit later on the show, we'll read some of your texts again. We asked you to come up with Drew's bio. As we were trying to talk to him earlier, we had a coworker that was talking to Drew at the time, and we asked why, and Drew said it's because they needed his information for a bio. So we want the text line to come up with the bio for Drew. There's some good ones. Someone suggested Drew, a one-time victim of an online scam involving a couch, enjoys fantastic times at Twin Peaks, and fantasizing about Joe Burrow's eyes. Those are the kind of bios we are looking for.
Somebody said that I like Scooby reruns, which is true.
Factual, some of it. So we'll get to the Drew's future Odyssey bio for the company a little bit later on the show. Up next, though, we get to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. We'll talk a little bit more about how this team is 6-0. And don't forget, we're expected to hear from Andy Reid coming up at noon right here on 96.5 The Fan.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Maybe you dodged the summer weather that wreaked havoc on roofs across the city. Maybe you didn't. Or the winter is getting ready to get you if you did. Century Roofing KC is the only company in Kansas City that you need to work with when it comes to your roof. Don't let people knock on your door, convince you that they'll handle the job just because they thought, well, I'll get this person to do it. No, work with someone who's been doing it in the Kansas City area for 34 years. Voted best roofing company in Johnson County 3 consecutive years. They'll work with your claims experts if that's what you need to confirm if enough damage exists to file a claim. They can do small repairs like they're doing on my roof or full roof replacements if that's what it still needs. Trust a local company with those 34 years of experience. And right now they're offering a free resistant upgrade on all roof replacement jobs. So if you need those things, make sure you work with a local company who's been handling it this way versus those fly-by-night knock on your door hail chasers. The winter weather is here, and you might need roof repairs before you know it. Schedule your estimate today from KC-based and female-owned Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength. Go to centuryroofingkc.com and tell them that Cody sent you.
Calling all Chiefs fans. You could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. You can enter to win a chance to be on the field for the March to the three-peat. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Enjoy all the NFL action with a chance to win on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers can bet $5, get $300 in bonus bets if you win a bet on this week's games. And there's so many ways to play. We have the Parlay Hub. We have so many different popular bets you can make with teams on the money line. And of course, every Thursday is FanDuel Squares. Just visit FanDuel.com/610Bob to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL and of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with cancer? You want the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. That's KCPI, the Kansas City Proton Institute. KCPI has a full suite of the most advanced imaging and treatment technology necessary to localize high-intensity proton beams. That's a critical part of maximizing cure rates while minimizing recovery time and long-term side effects. Proton therapy provides patients with the most advanced form of radiation treatments for cancer. It destroys cancer cells with supreme accuracy, reducing the risk of harmful side effects. KCPI has Kansas City's first and only system that uses pencil beam technology, resulting in precision targeting and less radiation to your surrounding healthy tissue. Proton therapy is now available in the comfort of an office at KCPI, making it more efficient and affordable than a hospital. So contact KCPI for the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. Don't wait. Get precision technology with the highest safety measures with KCPI. Online at kcpi.com.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Yeah, there are so many football games streaming this season. Can Xfinity Internet handle it?
Oh, we know the game is only live once, so we built a network with all-pro speeds and low lag so you don't miss a snap.
So I can yell, "He's open!" when he's actually open?
Yeah, but the quarterback still can't hear you.
Switch to Xfinity Internet and TV and enjoy instant access to your favorite live sports with the Xfinity Stream app. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Streaming content limited to the U.S. Programming subject to change.
Fall's coming. You have a lot to prepare for.
back to school, family gatherings, and staying on top of your health. The virus that causes COVID-19 continues to evolve, so this fall make a plan for COVID-19 vaccination. Ask your doctor to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Our Labor Day savings start now at Lowe's. Right now, buy one, get one free on Valspar Reserve or HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Infinity or Showcase Interior Paint via Lowe's gift card rebate. Whether you're painting one accent wall or want to freshen up a whole room, we've got you covered. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details. Valid through 9/4.
Is your vehicle stopping like it should? Does it squeal or grind when you brake? Don't miss out on summer brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Ready to take your business to the next level? In today's fast-paced marketing world, staying ahead isn't just an option, it's essential. That's where scale marketing comes in. We don't just help you compete, we make sure you win. Whether you're looking to grow, expand, or overcome stagnation, Scale Marketing is your performance marketing partner. We specialize in helping mid-sized B2C companies with teams of over 100 thrive. Scale Marketing is a full-service agency offering expertise in performance marketing across traditional and digital platforms, creative production, and data analytics. We treat your money like it's our own, ensuring every dollar is spent with purpose and every decision is driven by data. Our knowledgeable team stays ahead of the trends, crafting strategies that align with your business goals. Partnering with Scale Marketing means gaining a dedicated strategist and a team committed to your success. If you're ready to lead the market, visit scalemarketing.com today. That's scalemarketing.com.
This is the story of the one. As a warehouse manager, her job is to transform chaos into clarity and to see patterns where others see problems. Luckily, she's got a partner who shares her perspective. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products, backed by real-person support and in-depth online resources, so she can tackle every task with precision and turn potential setbacks into streamlined success. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick six, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
About 25 minutes, we'll hear from Andy Reid exclusively here on your home for the Chiefs. 96.5 The Fan. You guys can keep texting in, interacting with us, 913-586-7965. Talking Chiefs football. And yes, at some point, we will read some of the bios. Some of them are positive, Drew.
There are
some of them are positive.
Yeah, someone said you're a man of your word.
Someone says
me.
Drew is a stand-up guy. This would be their bio for work, as work is asking for bios.
Yes.
Drew is a stand-up guy, actually pays his debts, unlike one of the other members of Cody and Gold.
That's a good one.
That one's
Feels
accurate.
like that's targeted
I think
at me.
that's accurate. You know.
There's another factually accurate one that I love. Scooby-Doo reruns. That's
true.
That's also true.
That could be your fun fact, you know?
I do think the Bengals are going to be in the playoffs still. Yes, that also is true.
Yep. So we'll read some more of these. Again, the reason why we're doing this was like, what bios for? Every once in a while we'll be asked to put out new bios, and I guess I don't know. Sophie, one of our coworkers.
You guys all had a job before, right?
Yes,
Have you guys gotten that email?
It's that. Yes.
Yeah, we already did it.
Oh, okay.
I was like several days after Gold. But
Drew, we already did it, man.
Evidently, I'm slacking really bad.
That's why she came to talk to you.
You know, if you forgot before me, it's pretty bad. The last time they asked me to do something, it was like, hey, can you send a video for this thing? And I never sent it, and they never said anything. I just forgot. Goldson did that day. I think like that afternoon.
I usually do it because it's more like just get it done with, right? Be done with it and not have to worry about it.
I tell myself that, but I don't actually.
I hear you. Someone did say, make sure you include you mow the yard barefoot. That is that is still nuts.
It says the headline is Drew is fantastic.
I love that. All right, let's talk. Let's talk some Chiefs football again. This team is 6-0. They've got a little bit of a cushion, as much as a cushion you can have on October 21st.
2 games, 7 games into the season. That's pretty
as
good.
big of a cushion you probably can realistically have if you just do the math on who's playing who, and obviously you got to be undefeated for that to even be in play. And they're 6-0, and they're doing it with receivers that continue to get hurt. Yesterday, Juju was the latest, unfortunately. We don't know if he's going to be out for a week or two or if this is a short-term, even shorter-term thing. But there's a point yesterday where Watson, Moore, and Hardman were the receivers for a drive or so because Worthy also was out for a brief period of time. Then he returned. I mean, that's they're doing with that. They're able to go on this 12-game winning streak that they're on, going back to last season, overcoming injuries. Yeah, everybody has them. I know any other fan base would say, well, we have injuries too. Yes, you do. But one team has won 12 in a row. One team is coming off a Super Bowl. One team is chasing a three-peat. And one team is still 6-0 to start this year when, it's a league right now riddled with injuries.
So it's been the most impressive start to the season they've probably had under Andy Reid. And that goes back to even the first season in which Andy Reid took over a 2-win team from the year before and got them into the postseason, where you're like, wow. Now, look, I think if you were on the outside looking in, I'll tell you this. There'll be a lot of fans who don't watch the Chiefs every week. They're going to call them a paper tiger. They're going to call them the Steelers from a few years ago, where we mocked and joked and ridiculed and said, this can't possibly hold. Look at his quarterback stats. Guy's only averaging 230 yards a game. He's on pace for 5 more interceptions than he has touchdowns so far this year. All the things that I think if you looked at a stat sheet, you could rightfully pick on Kansas City and say there's no way in hell this will land. But of the teams who are, let's just say, actively in a playoff spot, so I don't have to go any further down than that, they've already faced 2 of them, and they will face almost every single one of them at point this season. So there'll be no paper tiger about it. Right. They've already faced the Baltimore Ravens, a team who would be in the postseason and won. The Chargers, who are in a postseason spot, who they've beaten. They still have on their schedule the Texans, Steelers, and Bills, the teams that currently sit 2, 3, and 4 in the AFC standings. They haven't played the Colts yet. I don't think they do.
They don't, yeah.
But so, of the 7 playoff teams, they've played 2, and they're on pace to face the other 3. They're 2-0. They're the reason. The Chiefs are the reason why they have the 2-game cushion. By beating those teams is why they possess that lead. It just speaks to the mediocrity of the AFC. It's homogenous. It's all jumbled up into one big mess. Some of those teams I just mentioned are going to miss. Some team like Cincinnati or the Colts or the Broncos or some other team will make it in, and it'll just be a mess by the time with one team left standing. I am weirdly confident 6 weeks into the season that the Chiefs are going to be the number 1 seed.
Well,
I wouldn't put it at 100%, but I am weirdly confident that we're already barreling towards that.
Well, it's because of you listed a couple of teams they've already beaten. One, and some of them, impressive just because we have seen what the Ravens now are looking like and where the Ravens look like maybe the second best, third best team in the AFC. Outside of Detroit, the Ravens might be the second or third best team in football right now, and Kansas City was able to beat them earlier on in the season. And then the Niners team that's all banged up and all that, it was still a road win where the Chiefs were underdogs. That's also why I think you're feeling more and more confident about that, not to mention the math is in your favor. Now, if they were to lose head-to-head to Buffalo, okay, it gets a little more interesting. But if they were to
that's
beat...
if Buffalo loses before then and the Chiefs don't...
don't lose before then or whatever. Yeah. But if Kansas City beats Buffalo... I mean, then the lead just increases. I mean, the head-to-head thing is in your favor. They already have the tiebreaker on Baltimore. That's still the one that might end up being the most important thing. Like, if we fast forward to week 17, and hopefully the Chiefs don't have to play their starters against the Broncos or whatever, week 17. Week 18. Sorry, I was
game
like,
17.
Game 17.
Like, something doesn't sound right about that. The 17-game schedule still has us all screwed up.
Week 18, game 17. Hopefully they don't have to play that game.
Yes.
We might look back at the Ravens game to open up the season from a tie-breaking perspective.
That's when they won it?
Well, that was it. Because it will tighten up probably at some point, like unless you think the Chiefs are winning 15 games. I took before the season, we all did our predictions or whatever. I think I had them 14. You had 13 or 14 as well. 13.
We were inverse from the year before.
14 is a lock to get the 1 seed. I would argue 13 with the tiebreaker probably would be that as well. 14 is no questions asked. You don't even have to worry about anything if you think they're getting to 14.
This is the crazy thing. I mean,
nobody else is getting to 14 wins in the AFC.
No, I mean, technically, that's borderline almost the best they can do.
Almost.
It would require them to do better. They would have to not lose a single game the rest of the way, which is not how the NFL works most of the time. The problem is that, and maybe I'm too bullish, and I know we'll give predictions on Friday, but I already think the Chiefs are at 10 wins.
No, Ravens and Bucks coming up. Or excuse me, Raiders and Bucks coming up.
Not even the Bucks. I think they're at 10 wins right now before we even play any part of the season. Raiders twice, Cleveland once, Carolina. There's 10. 10 in the bag before they've even played a damn game the rest of the way. So all I'm asking them to do is to go 500 for the rest of those games, really, in order to get there. And so it's like kind of hard to imagine that they're not going to creep towards that number at some point. A lot of this, there's like one stat I think we can get into later, but like there's only one or two things that I'm like, this is not sustainable and for you to continue to win games. Everything else is. The way they play defense is sustainable. The way that they move on offense, hell, it can only go up. What they do on offense is more than sustainable. Run the football, short passing game. What do you think? Those things go away automatically? No, those things hold up. Like the only thing you'd be like is the same thing. How many injuries can you take on before it's a problem? But it's the way this team is playing. There's no way in hell. I didn't think they were starting 6-0 anyway. Okay, so let's just start there. I didn't think they'd win all 6 of their games. If you had told me what they had to overcome in order to win it, I'd have borderline call you crazy before the season. And I think you would have too. We all thought that they were going to lose one of the games against the Ravens or the Chargers I think I had them
I think I had them starting 2-0 but losing to the Falcons before the season. I think that was the game at Atlanta that I had them dropping in the first 6 or 7. So they were I think I had them 5-1 or something out of the gate, losing to Atlanta. But you're right. Now look at heading into the season. At the time of those predictions, we didn't know Hollywood Brown was out for the year. We obviously didn't know Rashee Rice was out for the season. I guess Hollywood Brown has a chance to come back. I shouldn't say out for the year yet. Going to miss 95% of the season at least.
He comes back, it'll be late.
Yeah, Isaiah Pacheco, let's not forget that. Now Jalen Watson, unfortunately, broken ankle, according to multiple reports. So he could be done for the year. I mean, a lot of this stuff has happened, and other teams are dealing with it, but they keep racking up wins. So hopefully the payoff is going to be on the back half of this thing that they're going to get an extra bye week, because we all discussed how early the bye week and how it's not ideal. Well, they might get, for the first time in a couple of years, they might get the extra bye week, and boy, it looks like they're going to be able to really use that with the pace they're headed.
They should just give themselves a second bye week and start Carson Wentz against the Panthers. Just give all the starters the day off. Screw that game. I mean, are you kidding? It wasn't even Jaden Daniels yesterday, and they got 40-balled by, who was the...
Mariota.
Marcus Mariota.
To your point, though, I think what you would see for the Panthers game, depending on how everything's going, is anybody that is borderline banged up. That's what they do. Obviously, Mahomes is playing that game. But
if your back has been sore for a couple of weeks, we're good this week.
Juju, the hamstring is still a little tight. Yeah, we'll save you for the next week. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of stuff that they would do for that game. Although by then, who knows? Bryce Young might be starting, so even better.
Should we? I've seen the name on the text line a lot today, and I saw it on Twitter last night. Should we take the Justin Ross rule and apply it to a player who matters seemingly even less than that in Sky Moore? Should we just agree to never mention his name on the show ever again?
Here's why you don't have to do that rule. Because the Justin Ross rule was put into place a training camp ago because we had to, with the text line became inundated with people acting like he was going to be, I don't know, the next Jamar Chase. And they just weren't giving him an opportunity. And so that's why that happened. Sky Moore, I don't think anybody wants to talk about the guy. I think it's the opposite. There's no rule needed, Cody. Nobody wants to talk about his production because there is none. There's nothing to talk about. Nobody's clamoring. We got texts today. People are actually upset that Justin Ross still has not been called up. By the way, that's a hell
offensive that he should not.
Offensive or a hell of an indictment that people were way overblown with his production that he can't even get called back up.
Oh, way overblown on that. But I'll be honest, it is a bit malpractice. The Chiefs should be playing anyone. And like sometimes you're like, well, name somebody you want instead of Sky Moore. I'm not kidding. Anyone who is on the Chiefs roster. Any practice squad player, any dude who got some reps
Justin Ross?
Any rookie who got some reps in mandatory mini camp who got to get some reps because he played at Blue Valley High School. Anyone. They have no receivers left. He was targeted on a single pass and he dropped it. So anyone would show.
I mean, if they don't make a transaction this week in terms of outside the organization this week, and we find out Juju's not available, they'll have to call up Nico Remigio or Ross. Like they just will have to. But we'll see with Juju's health. The good news yesterday, and I don't know if it's sustainable, but McCole Hardman deserves some props. Based off of catching the touchdown in the Super Bowl, and then even this game yesterday, how people are going to remember McCole Hardman has changed so much in less than 9 months. It really has, right? I mean, we all know he went to New York, and people were like, all right, it's just time to move on. He's been disappointing, even though you look at his numbers, they look better based off of what Sky Moore has ultimately been, et cetera.
Yeah, it's 50 yards. He doesn't have like some massive.
No, I mean like numbers as in what he was doing when it was the Chiefs. Everybody acted like people were talking about Sky Moore, McCole Hardman like he was Sky Moore when McCole Hardman was second year guy.
500-600 yards
exactly.
Here,
So looking back, I think everybody is going to view McCole Hardman way more fondly, and the Super Bowl game-winning catch definitely helps that. But even yesterday, it's not like he had 100 yards. You're right, but 2 runs for 38. Of course, the touchdown had a big completion on the 17 yards. I mean, that's the kind of production they're going to need from random guys, basically. But I just feel like McCole Hardman's not only stock among the fan base, but in general, it's just the view of him has changed forever because of the Super Bowl. But even now, like we're going to 20 years from now, like when the name McCole Hardman coming up, if it comes up, is viewed way more favorably than it would have 3 years ago.
I know he said after the game he would like not to be remembered this way. But is there any way we can convince McCole Hardman to play the way he plays against the 49ers against every team? I mean, it's borderline. It's starting to get almost comical. In both Super Bowls against the 49ers, in this one, in other regular season games, I don't know what it is about their defensive alignment specifically that makes McCole Hardman such a weapon, or if it's just like he's a big game player and the 49ers always kind of feels like a big game because they're a Super Bowl contending team most years. He plays better against the 49ers than any other team.
He does.
It's crazy.
It's
He's always having big punt returns, runs, catches. Like he does it all against the Niners. It's kind of weird at this point. But like he's a reliable NFL player. McCole Hardman will play in the NFL for 10 years. He is he's like Adam Frazier, right? However you want to do the baseball comparison, he'll play 10 years in the league. He'll never have more than the 690 yards or whatever he had receiving for Kansas City a couple of years back, but he will always be on a roster. He'll be viable on a roster. He'll find a way to be productive. He'll never be your star. Sometimes he'll be on a bad team. Most of the time in this case, been a good team because he's with the Chiefs. But he's fine. He's a perfectly fine NFL player. Deserves to be on a roster for most NFL teams. Just seems like he's better against the 49ers for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's the way it's worked. I mean, they also ran basically the identical play as the Super Bowl, too. It just didn't work because as McCole was cutting back, he slipped a little bit. It threw off the timing of the throw for Mahomes.
Well, that was a touchdown.
The Niners still would have been caught off guard, but like that, it's also just a good play design. But
it is funny that they would fall for it again.
Yeah, I mean, they just ran. I mean, the last time you played them, the game-winning play, you would think that's like, oh, not this bleep again. You know, like, and it almost worked again. If he doesn't slip, it's a touchdown because he would have just had the space in front of him.
Yeah, because the ball was only maybe a yard pat, not even that, probably a couple of feet past McCole on that. I think it's clean out of
clarification on your statement, real quick, Cody. I think you said anybody over Sky Moore. You said that, right? Mm-hmm. Text line. They just want to know, Cody. They just need to know for the record. Do you mean you would take Kadarius Toney still? At least Sky Moore's not costing them games by lining up offsides or batting balls in the air, etc.
It's like the only
name. Okay.
It's the only name that I would like at least. It's the only one I think I'm a no on. Because if you said, hey, today they're going to get rid of Sky Moore and they're going to sign MVS, sold. Fine.
You see, he's visiting the Saints today.
Yeah, but they're going to elevate Nico Remigio. Cool. Sounds good.
Oh, I'm fine with that.
Or, I don't know, like they're going to pick up Hunter Renfrow off the street. Sounds good.
The baseball player even?
Yeah.
Maybe, or the football player. Which
maybe
one?
even the baseball player at this point.
Gotcha.
Toney might be the only line. That's just too much. You know, I'm not a monster.
In fairness, to Kadarius Toney, at least he could get open. Sky was open.
But he cost them games.
Yesterday.
But dude, he cost them games.
Losing games. Sky Moore's nothing games. He's just like he's a net zero.
Yeah, like if we were to do WAR, but for football or whatever, like Kadarius Toney would have a negative WAR. Sky Moore's would just be like, level or whatever. It would be negative, but not as much.
I would rather Clyde Edwards-Helaire line up in the slot like a receiver in those snaps.
He made a really good catch last year, and that was one of the best catches that we saw.
He wasn't even active. But I'm just telling you, I'm open to Tony, maybe. That's like
All
the
right,
only
we found the spot.
There is a line.
We found the spot where you're willing to not go.
I wonder, and I look, I know that they might bring Hollywood back. Let's say they bring Hollywood Brown back next year.
Oh, next year.
Rasheed Rice is back. Well, he's going to be suspended, but
There'll be another drafted.
He's in the room. Xavier Worthy's in the draft in the room. Who else do they? I think they. I don't know if they can just go one wide receiver again. Just bury the room for what it has been, because Bink was asking for it. I was asking for it. Just bury the room entirely next season, whether it's free agency or any time in the offseason.
But I mean,
bury every player that has not been good for you in this last couple of seasons, and just reset everything and hook up your Lamborghini with other options instead of
I don't mind
Priuses,
that, but this goes back to the idea that they didn't try that this year. They put Sky
They were
Moore
better
down
this
to
year, yes.
wide receiver 7. I mean, they had buried those
They did
dudes
something,
on
yes.
the roster. They just got injured. And then they didn't really have a choice, They were stuck with the options they had because of injury.
Coming up next, we're going to hear from Andy Reid. The only place you can hear from Coach Reid on a Monday is right here on 96.5 The Fan. I'm sure he'll be asked about Jalen Watson. I don't know if we'll get confirmation, but we all know the reporting out there suggests it's a broken ankle from Jalen Watson. But that's coming up next here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Well, the NBA is back this week, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, wants you to catch all the action. Because right now, FanDuel's giving all users 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you got to do is catch every tip-off and buzzer beater. All you got to do that is place a $5 bet on the NBA. Like the Lakers with LeBron and Bronny playing together. Victor Wembanyama, he's got the best odds to win Defensive Player of the Year. And if you're new to FanDuel, just visit FanDuel.com/Alex. Use that promo code to get 3 months of NBA League Pass courtesy of FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA, and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Something big is happening at Hy-Vee. We just lowered thousands and thousands of prices on thousands and thousands of items in every aisle and in every department. Online, too. And on many of your favorite products. We've even matched prices with some of the biggest discount stores in the country. Because we get it, times are still tough. So we'll continue to work hard to bring you new lower prices on thousands of items. Things are looking different at Hy-Vee. Come see for yourself.
Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. This year, I get to host, and Hy-Vee's going to make it convenient for me. They have made fresh, ready-to-heat and serve favorites like succulent turkey, honey glazed spiral ham, prime rib, savory side dishes, and dessert. Hy-Vee's Taste of the Holidays event is coming up Saturday, November 2nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can sample all of the amazing ready-to-serve meal pack options or just get a little holiday inspiration. This holiday season, let Hy-Vee do the cooking while you take the credit, only at Hy-Vee.
I couldn't stop talking about it to my family and friends. My knees are my trouble spot. But for me to tell them now that I'm doing so much better, they were amazed, and I've been amazed.
QC Kinetics Cellular Therapies. Yes, it is amazing how these non-surgical treatments deliver joint pain relief for patients like Dr. Eric Williams, a successful chiropractor.
Each week, I just started noticing that I could sleep and not have pain. I could play pickleball. I could do a CrossFit exercise routine.
QC Kinetics revitalizes your joints so you can move again without the pain pills or invasive surgery.
I'm 60 years old and I want to stay competitive as long as I can. And QC has allowed me to do that. They did me right and really made a difference in my life.
Book your free consultation with QC Kinetics today and experience the difference for yourself.
I like to go, move, move, move.
QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Choosing the best doctor for your eyes is one of the most important medical decisions you'll ever make. Whether you're considering blade-free LASIK, all laser cataract surgery, and premium lens implants, or want a world-renowned doctor to help with your glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, or diabetes, trust my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein. Call Silverstein Eye Centers to make an appointment, 816-358-3600. Experience the best eye care in Kansas City.
It's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here now on 96.5 The Fan, telling you guys about my friends over at Window World. Window World is the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs. Pick up the phone right now and call Window World today at 816-799-0820 or check out the website, windowskansascity.com. And remember this, when you call Window World, be sure to mention that you heard this on The Drive with me, and you'll be entered into a drawing for 4 Chiefs tickets during the upcoming season. You know they got some big games, and you're going to want to be there. So call my friends over at Window World. They're offering right now 36 months same as cash financing with approved credit. In over 20 years of business, Window World has improved the look and thermal efficiency of over 54,000 homes right here in the Kansas City metro. Check out the website, windowskansascity.com. Pick up the phone today at 816-799-0820 for a free home estimate. Call to be entered into a drawing for 4 Chiefs tickets. Remember, Window World, simply the best for less. And the official window of your Kansas City Chiefs.
It's better over here.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has an exclusive rate plan just for you. Right now, get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Plus, you can get one of the latest 5G phones free when you add a line. That's right, a free 5G phone. Experience all this and more on America's largest 5G network. So why wait? At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Just go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 or visit your local store to make the switch.
With AutoPay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees, 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Free phones up to $300 off with 24 monthly bill credits and qualifying new line for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue remaining bill credits. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See details at T-Mobile.com.
Is your everyday congestion preventing you from enjoying life's big moments? Try Vicks Sinex Saline today and get yourself back in the action. Vicks Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion with a gentle ultrafine mist. Sinex Saline's drug-free, no-mess formula instantly moisturizes and soothes dry, irritated nasal passages for quick and effective relief. Get back to enjoying life's big moments to the fullest without having to worry about everyday congestion holding you back. Just Sinex, breathe, use as directed.
With Labor Day savings at the Home Depot, you can get up to $1,500 off select appliances from top brands like LG, America's most reliable line of appliances, like the LG Smart Top Load Washer with easy unload angled front, so you can reach every last sock. Right now, get up to $1,500 off select appliances in-store and online with Labor Day savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing valid August 22nd through September 11th. U.S. only. See store online for details. America's most reliable line of appliances per independent study.
Listen to the Chiefs and Raiders game on Sunday with pregame starting at noon. Kickoff at 3:25 with Mitch, Danon, and Kling. Right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM HD1 and HD2. Kansas City. An Odyssey sports station.
We're going to hear from Andy Reid.
What's trending?
In just a second. That's right. You're good, man. We're going to hear from Andy in just a second. He's not ready yet. Let's get to what's trending. Presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Of course, number one is the fact that the Chiefs have improved to 6-0, the last remaining unbeaten team in the NFL. They'll get set for the Raiders later on this week. But a 10-point win as dogs. That means Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, the success after a bye week continues. Patrick Mahomes is now, 12-1-1 against the spread as a dog. He's got 11 wins as an underdog. Just don't, you mess with them as a dog, man, it usually doesn't go well. Brock Purdy should never be a favorite over Patrick Mahomes again. I'm sorry. He just
Patrick Mahomes should never be an underdog to any team in the NFL. Look at the record. They weren't an underdog in any of those games. They've only lost three of them, and they've covered in every single game in which they've been an underdog. It's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous. Next up on What's Trending, all 3 locals winners over the weekend. Kansas put a beat down on Houston. I asked genuinely whether or not they were able to win a game after the rough start to their season, but their slide-ins, nobody looked more impressive this weekend than Kansas State. Yeah. And what I thought was kind of a tricky game against West Virginia on the road, Avery Johnson, his single best game of the year in a clear victory. And Missouri managed to scratch, claw, fight, dig their way through a win against Auburn over the weekend. And Hugh Freeze's bunch, who has not had a good season, they've got Alabama this Saturday.
Huge game. What, 2:30? I think they assigned the kickoff.
Yeah, it's on ABC, actually.
Yeah, 2:30 on Saturday. It'll be Missouri and Alabama. Obviously, a high-stakes game coming up. Next up on What's Trending, we know the World Series matchup. I know it's not going to thrill a lot of people, but Yankees, Dodgers, Fox, the TV networks got their dream. L.A. versus New York.
I think I mentioned it to you guys. Did you see that there was a promo during the DS series for the Yankees and Dodgers?
Are you going all conspiracy?
I'm just saying.
You going all conspiracy?
My wife and I, we were watching the Royals game.
That's fair.
And there was a commercial that popped up, only Dodgers and Yankees highlights in the commercial, and said it's the playoffs.
Well,
I was like, hang on a minute here.
I mean, obviously, Judge, Ohtani, Soto, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, the stars are unbelievable on both sides. But I will be, if I have to root for somebody, I will root for the Dodgers. I like Mookie Betts.
I like Shohei.
I think Mookie Betts is incredible. Seems like a really good dude as well. Obviously, Shohei's just an all-timer. And it's the freaking Yankees. Screw them. I understand both teams spend a ridiculous amount of money and all that. But I got to pick one. I'll pick the Dodgers over the New York team.
Exactly. I don't feel good rooting for either uniform in this case.
Yeah.
Dodgers have far more likable people, and I'll die before you catch me rooting for the Yankees.
I must say, though, Juan Soto. That at bat that he had, I guess it's been 3 nights now or whatever ago, 2 nights ago, where, was as good as it gets. Ultimately hits the home run, but just the way he approaches his appearances, and then mid-appearance, he kind of stares at the batter, or stares at the pitcher, and basically kind of okay, I got you figured out. Okay. All right. Yeah. And then hits a home run the next pitch. There's nobody that has more swag, but also just backs it up. If that makes sense, then
there's
Juan
a reason
Soto.
why he's going to get $600 million or $550 million this offseason. As a reminder, Juan Soto is a free agent who can sign with any team he wants.
Doesn't that mean, based off of them getting the World Series, don't you think there's no way the Yankees let him walk now?
Absolutely.
There's no way.
He has to sign back there.
Yeah,
They'll make sure he signs back there.
Yeah. Plus, it's just a perfect stadium for him. Yeah, he's going to sign back there. Next up on What's Trending, injury update, news in the NFL. The Browns have officially sent out it's already been reported, but the Browns officially confirmed it. MRI this morning, they said, confirmed Deshaun Watson sustained a ruptured right Achilles tendon in the second quarter of the game. Says the injury will require surgery, and his season is done. He'll miss the remainder of the 2024 season. The other quarterback who got hurt yesterday, Jaden Daniels, with a rib injury, he's expected to undergo more tests today to find out where he was. His mom was tweeting last night that he was fine. They obviously did not need him for the rest of that Carolina Panthers game. But as good of a season as they've had to start, they certainly wouldn't want to miss any time with Jaden Daniels.
That is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. We're expected to hear from Andy Reid. Run a little bit late today, but the only place on a Monday you can hear from Andy Reid is 96.5 The Fan. So you weren't missing anything. We'll let you know. Who knows? Maybe Cody, we won't get the. I haven't had a chance to talk to him. Maybe he's talking to them now, and we'll actually get confirmation on said injury today. I'm sure that's what it is. I'm sure he's talking to them, and that's why we're running a little late today. You seem
it's good to be
skeptical of that theory.
I would bet, and nobody would take this bet because I'd bet $1,000 he says a sentence. We're just getting in. I haven't spoken to them.
I would.
We don't have.
I wouldn't take that bet against you.
It would be minus. Here's the thing: if it were in a sports book, it'd be minus 800. That's the favorite.
Okay.
For what he would say,
and so
I'd have to be giving you odds almost.
So 5 to 1 plus 500 that he gives confirmation that he's got a broken ankle.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know, man. The fact that the later it runs, the later this runs before it starts, gives me more optimism that actually we might actually get an answer.
If that was a bet you actually placed, $1,000 for minus 800 and you lost, you'd be sick to your stomach. You wouldn't be able to continue the rest of the show.
Every once in a while, someone will do that on those, it's minus 200,000. Like, this gentleman bet $10,000 or bet $200,000 to win 5. And you're like, no, don't risk 200. Just put it in an interest-bearing savings account. I know that's less fun, but don't do that. You could still lose the 200,000. Weird things happen sometimes. But yeah, no, I don't worry about it. Look, I'm excited because whether he gives the update or not, this defense is the reason why this team wins games, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. They have the league's best defense again. They have not allowed 30 points they played 20 games last year. They've played 6. They have not allowed 30 points in 26 games. I want you to think about the teams that you like. Drew, was it you earlier that said you think the Steelers have the best defense in the NFL?
Well, after the Chiefs. If the Chiefs have the best defense, the Steelers are second, yes.
Sure. Like a team that you're like, yeah, that team is just as good as them. Defensively, the Steelers have let up 30 points like 3 times in that amount of time, right? Not this year, but like in the last season, they let up 30 points multiple times. They didn't have to go through the entire Super Bowl run. It was the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl the last time they gave up 30. That's not even the same defense.
2022?
I told you last week, I think this defense is better than last year's. With every passing week, it'll get harder to argue the other side.
This defense has time and time again shown who they are, what they are. I mean, the Jalen Watson injury, I think, is going to test them again. But if you're confident that they'll be fine, it's because of Steve Spagnuolo, and it's because of the track record that they have had as a defensive unit. And I still think what's exciting about this defense is that later on in the year, they are going to get Charles Omenihu back to add to this. But teams can't run on them. Number one wide receiver has been shut down. That's where I worry a little bit without Jalen Watson, that now it's McDuffie and Najee Johnson, Joshua Williams. That's where I get a little concerned, and we'll see as the weeks progress. I told you earlier, I think we won't know how big of a loss it may or may not be until they play the Bucs, because that's Chris Godwin, that's Mike Evans. Whereas this Sunday, it's Gardner Minshew throwing to Jacoby Myers, and their next best weapon, if their best weapon actually is probably Brock Bowers as a tight end.
He's their best weapon total.
Let Brock Bowers get his yardage, not really concerned. We saw that George Kittle got 90 yards, it didn't matter. Kyle Pitts had 1 catch and got like 70 yards, didn't matter. Like, I don't care what tight ends are doing against the Chiefs. It's not a problem. It just isn't.
If you got him in a fantasy game, sure, start him.
Yeah, man, that's fine.
Get your points, but outside of that, don't do that. The text line did ask, when's the last time the Chiefs scored 30 points? They last scored 30 points November 26th against the Las Vegas Raiders. So 11 months ago. It's been a little while. They scored 33 times last year against the Raiders, against the Chargers, and against the Bears. So, I mean, that's 3 more times than they've given up 30.
Last 2 games out, they have been very, very close to getting to that mark.
I think what stands out more is how many times have they allowed less than 20 points? I want you to think about how easy it is for the Chiefs, even with an offense that isn't performing under its normal circumstance, how easy it is for them to get them. They've held, last year in the postseason, they let up less than 20 at least one time. 3 of the last 5 games of the regular season last year, Gold, they let up less than 20 points. Like this season alone, 3 times? Falcons didn't get 20 points against them. Yesterday, 20
Chargers
points scored against them.
didn't.
Chargers only got to 10. Is it 4 times? Is it 4 times this year they've allowed less than 20? Yeah. Matter of fact, the only times they've allowed more than 20 points are the first 2 games this season, in which they allowed 20 and 25. They've let up 17, 10, 13, and 18 the last 4. So 3 out of the last 5 3 out of the last 5 regular season games last year, 1 out of 4 postseason games. I mean, half the time they're letting up less than 20 points over the last 12 games that they've won, right? In which they've been 12-0. There's a reason why.
Yeah,
it's all back to the defense.
They're a defensive first team, and that's weird to say with Patrick Mahomes and all of that, but that is, it doesn't matter how you accomplish the goal of the three-peat. And last year they didn't get back-to-back without the defense. And the hope is, again, that come playoff time, you do get superior play. And you're like, well, what are the chances of that? Well, we saw it last year. Suddenly the offensive line had their best stretch of games of the season. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes played great in the postseason, and the defense still played at a very, very high level. But they're not suddenly just going to start winning games 34-28. That's not who. This isn't 2022. Certainly not 2019, where you had to win 38-31. That's not where they're at. It's a different era of this regime right now, right? Of this dynasty, I guess I should say. It's a different era of that within that, and this is how they have to win right now. Now, 2 years from now, maybe the defense stinks again and the offense scores. And I guess for fans, in weird ways, some fans would rather just see the 38 points because it's fun and exciting. And your fantasy football team is doing better because you drafted all Chiefs players. So you're upset because you drafted Xavier Worthy and Rice, and neither are doing anything for you. One's hurt. That's where I think sometimes people get way more down on the Chiefs in Kansas City even on particular things like, oh, man, the offense is terrible, can't do anything, even though the defense is as good as it gets, and that's why they're winning games, is because of the world we live in with fantasy football now and everything. And so that's how we perceive it. Like, well, if they're not or a rookie wide receiver isn't having a good rookie year if he has 700 yards, because in fantasy football, 700 yards isn't good enough for you at the wide receiver spot during a season unless he had 8 touchdowns. So sometimes I think that has skewed everything in how we view football nowadays. And defense, though, the best teams in the AFC right now, the Baltimore Ravens defense is down. Their offense is up. The Steelers are, a number 3 seed in football right now currently? Is that right? They'd be the 3 seed or something like that in the
technically,
AFC?
yeah, because the
Chargers
Ravens
would be
haven't
the
played
6.
that.
So the Steelers would be the 3 seed. They're doing it with defense as well. On the NFC side, the Lions are doing it with everything. I mean, the Lions are pretty damn good.
If it's not the Chiefs that are the best team in football,
Definitely the Lions.
It's definitely the Lions.
Not even close,
I'd
man.
make it, and especially if they still had Aiden Hutchinson, you'd be making an even stronger
Their
argument.
defense is going to take a hit, but their offense is back to being what it was a year ago. So the Lions right now offensively are what the Chiefs were many years ago during this run. They're winning with offense still. The Chiefs are winning with defense. I think it all, kind of 360s or 180s, I guess I should say, eventually.
I just think you just got to win with what's at hand. Like, Tom Brady didn't end up winning the Super Bowl, but the year that they went undefeated, they were one of the single greatest offenses in NFL history because they had Randy Moss. It was the first time he had done things like 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. But nobody blamed him when he was winning Super Bowls, when he'd have 21 passing touchdowns and 12 interceptions, and they had the number 1 defense in the land, because that is what part of Tom Brady's career looked like. The difference is that was in the early part of his career, not the middle part. And so people start to view it different because they've already seen the gaudy numbers that Patrick Mahomes is capable of putting up in a world-beating, world-class offense. But that's just the way that it is. Can you win given the pieces that are put in front of you? And the answer is yes. The year before, Tom Brady finished the season with 4,800 passing yards and 50 touchdowns. The year that when he was 30 years old, and they went on to lose the Super Bowl to the Giants. The year before that, Tom Brady, in a passing league, by the way, this is not like 1991. This was 2006. Finished the season with 3,500 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 12 picks. This is not world beater numbers, but they won. You know why they won? Because they had the second best scoring defense in the NFL. Just do what it takes to win. That's all I care about. Any more with the Chiefs in particular, that's really all I care about. We can talk about stats or grades or all those things, but defense is why they win these games, and great. I'm all for it.
It shouldn't matter anyway when we're talking about like how many rings you win, but especially in a 3-peat campaign, you're trying to do something that's never been done. You certainly shouldn't care if people outside of this market are like, well, Mahomes is getting carried by his defense. None of that should matter. They're going for a 3-peat. And if he has a 3-peat under his belt, it doesn't matter. Not to mention, as we said earlier in the show, yesterday, the stats don't tell the story. It's why you shouldn't just look at a box score. Patrick Mahomes, the defense was great. Patrick Mahomes had 2 massive game-winning type of plays offensively to make sure that this game wasn't in doubt, too.
I think the other part about it is they're still winning in some similar ways, but the difference between is now they're the best run defense in the league.
Coach Reed's press conference sponsored by Arvest Bank, making banking easier for customers for more than 60 years. Arvest Bank, proud to serve Chiefs Kingdom. Let's go out and hear from Andy Reid exclusively here on 96.5 The Fan.
He won't be ready this week. Juju won't be ready this week. So, two different things there. As far as the game goes, I liked what I saw as far as just the team effort. All 3 phases contributed. We've got some things we can obviously work on both sides of the ball, special teams wise, likewise. But there were some real positives that we can take out of the game. We rushed, obviously for a lot of yards offensively, defensively. A strong offense. We were able to hold them in their rush yards and hold them relatively, and likewise in the pass game with the 3 turnovers. That was big. And then special teams wise, McCool had again a nice return there. Our Ariza was really punting the ball well, field position wise. I thought was a positive. I thought defensively, I thought Chris Jones just, as he's done every game, has just been really a dominant force. And people know that. I mean, the Raiders will know it too. They played against him before. So, but this guy is playing at that MVP level, defensive MVP level. So that he takes a lot of pride in being the best, and right now he's doing that. He's showing that. So offensively, again, there were some good individual things that took place. With Kareem and the other running backs, I thought really ran hard. Pat had some big time runs for us. Pass game, we got to get a couple things, excuse me, worked out. But we'll get that taken care of. Kelsey had another productive game, as did Noah. And that combination was good for us yesterday as we went through the game. So again, all in all, and both lines, I thought on both sides of the ball did a nice job, and that is really where everything starts, and your production starts on both sides. It makes the secondary and linebackers look well on the defensive side. It makes the receivers, tight ends, and running backs look good on the offensive side. So with that, time's yours.
We'll kick things off with Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hello, Andy. I have two questions for you. The first is, you guys have used Travis in a number of ways this year, but I just wonder, obviously given his age, just what impresses you most about his ability as a blocker for other guys in the offense?
Yeah, he's so willing to do that. He just wants to win is what he wants to do, and make sure that we're doing well offensively. He's not selfish that way. He just wants to be in there, right? He wants to be in and playing, and as a result, if you take out the offensive lineman out of the picture, he's always one of the top play per game guy, and that's him. And he prepares that way during the week. He busts his tail during the week. So, and part of that's the run game, and he makes sure that he stays on top of that.
And then secondly, considering Juju's injury, how much has there been a discussion about elevating one of the guys on the practice squad, whether that's Nico Remigio, Justin Ross, just where have they progressed from the last time we saw them, obviously during the preseason?
Yeah, really all those guys on the practice squad, we've got a lot of trust in. So, and feel good about. And we've talked about it a little bit. I'm going to get with Veach here after we're done, and we'll go through everything. So, but I just came out of an offensive meeting and had a chance to talk to those guys and see what their thoughts were. And, we'll see. I haven't had a chance to really get with Veach on it.
We'll go next to Matt Derrick. Matt?
Hey, Coach. Two questions for you. One, you mentioned Chris is playing at a NFL Defensive Player of the Year kind of level. How important would it be, and what would it mean to you, Chris, the organization, for him to get that award? And how much do is there you have to kind of campaign for the Chris in a position like that, since there's so many things that he does that doesn't show up in a box score?
Yeah, Matt. I mean, everybody goes off of sacks. I mean, that's, you kind of know that they look at sacks first, but what he does in the run game and the pass game, to me, is what constitutes somebody for that spot. And he's done this over and over a number of years here, and he's been close to the number of votes in that award with Aaron. But it's now. The thing that's amazing is here he is at this age and being paid what he's being paid, and the Joker just comes out and goes 100 miles an hour every play that he's in, pass and run, and he's dominant at that. And he's everybody's target. He'll be the Raiders' target this week from an offensive standpoint. But he works through that, and Joe Cullen helps him with that. Spags helps him with that. But the kid's there every day and then every week, and so I get to see that.
And then with some of the rookies, we saw a little bit more from Jaden Hicks, and obviously Chris Rowland-Wallace had to play a bigger role yesterday. How much of the management of some of this rookie class and these younger guys has been with the understanding and expectation that you're going to play a 2021 game season and wanting to make sure they don't hit that rookie wall?
Yeah, there is a rookie wall that the guys can hit at times. We try to manage that the best we can. We've had pretty good success with it with the young guys, where we can kind of get them through that phase. But the guys they're working hard. They're contributing in the games, and then we'll just, as the college season goes on, when you start getting around that bowl time and guys, that's when they go, oh geez, we still have 7 games left or 6 games left, and that's kind of where you gotta look at it. But we try to do a good job working them through all that.
We'll go next to Nick Jacobs. Nick.
And Kelsey, I'll have a follow-up if I can, please. Andy, for you, throughout this year and through a lot of these big moments, it seems like the team can just find a way in the fourth quarter to lock in and close things out. Where do you feel like that's kind of happened for you guys over time?
Yeah, Nick, I think it starts with your locker room, your coaches, and just how do the guys like each other, like playing together, and then that whole trust thing that they develop with each other, I think, is important. Everything's not going to be roses when you're playing. You're going to have ups and downs in games. Very few teams go and win every game during a season. So you literally take it game by game and make sure you're taking care of business this week. And but I think the locker room has a big part of that. The coach's attitude with everything has a big part of that.
And then lastly, for you guys all getting together Friday night to be able to go watch high school football and everything, for you kind of on the sidelines, is there times where you're kind of looking at something as a play caller and seeing some of that? And what did it mean to you to see Tate be able to throw that game-winning throw there in the final 10 seconds?
Yeah, how about him, man? Gee, man, both those guys, gee, playing opposite each other, that was something. And they're both great kids. So, but Tate's a gamer, and he's been that since he was a little shooter, and now KU is going to get a good player, from all this, and it was great. That was a big game for both teams, and they love playing against each other. So it was great to have all the support out there, and it was hard for all of us to, you can't root for one side. You've got to go right down the middle because these kids have been at our training camp. We all love them. So they've worked our training camps, and you get to know them, and they're fighting their tails off to beat up on each other a little bit.
We have 3 more quick ones for you. We'll go first to Pete Sweeney.
Coach, the snap numbers indicate that Nazeeh Johnson will end up being the choice, at least first, to potentially replace Jalen. What have you and Steve seen from him in A, getting back, and B, what he's been able to do since he's been back that gives you confidence that you'll be okay there?
Yeah, Pete, every week he's gotten better and stronger. And so that's the main thing. He's a good player. It's that he has the confidence in his leg, and the leg's strong, and that just happens by playing. So every week it's been a positive going forward, and he's ready for the spot. And Two's also been in there. He's done it, and so he knows what it takes. And 2 different body types, and we'll need both of them. And they both need to step up. Watson was having a heck of a year, so now it's these guys have an opportunity here to step in and do the same.
We'll go next to Seren Petro. Seren?
And I'll have a follow-up too, if I could. Coach, you've obviously been dealing with a lot of injuries here, but not just injuries that going into the game. You've been hit a couple of times with wide receivers going down, wide receivers that would seem to have played, Rashee Rice and then Juju this past week, that were going to be a big part of the game plan. How do you weigh that? Is that something over the years you've learned? That's why there's apologies. That was my phone. Sorry. Is that something over the years you've realized that it just is something that you have to be prepared for, that someone might go down?
Yeah, Soren, the coaches, I think, do a good job with rotating guys in during practice, making sure that everybody knows everybody's spot and that you can function. And so yesterday was smooth. Connor's got a big part of that on his plate because he does all the substitutions, and trying to get everybody in on time and moving around is not an easy task. And when people go down, so, but he did a good job the last couple of weeks with that, just making sure things ran smooth. The calls were easy, personnel wise, getting them in. And I give him most of the credit there.
And then for a follow-up, just, I know you ended up getting an interception, getting the ball right back, but just, what goes into the conversation? I know Dave's in charge of the special teams, but when you decide to do a fake punt, how much of that is, something you figured out during the week, and how much of that is something that maybe you guys are spotting something in game when you decide to make that call?
Yeah, that one, we thought we had something there, and David practiced it this week, and I was aware of it, and he made me aware of it during the game, and so I was aware that it was going to take place with a certain look, and they gave us a look, and we got to do a little better job executing it, but trying to stay aggressive, especially against that crew. They're a good football team. So
we'll close things out with Todd Lebo. Todd.
Yeah, Coach, maybe a follow-up on the culture you guys have built. Mentioned Travis willing to block, and Chris going 100 miles an hour on everything. Patrick seems to be driven by wins more than anything. I guess just how unique is it to have your best players seemingly be unselfish, and kind of what that means to the culture of your team as you get through a long season?
Yeah, Todd, you're around these guys, so you know this, but that's the way they operate. I think that's positive. That's a positive culture to have. And then the end result helps too, that you are winning. That helps. So, and how you kind of handle the highs and lows are the important thing. That'll carry you through the whole season. If you can handle the lows like you're handling the highs, well, that's a plus. So you got to stay driven to do that in either case. And so far that's been the guy's approach and the coach's approach.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, so that was Andy Reid's press conference here on 96.5 The Fan, sponsored by Arvest Bank. We're proud to serve Chiefs Kingdom. The big note out of that, of course, was Andy right away. That's a pretty early in the week to just go ahead and say that Juju Smith-Schuster, right hamstring, not going to play on Sunday against the Raiders. Also ruling out Jalen Watson, although he didn't confirm that it was a broken ankle yet, did not confirm that he's maybe done for the season. But both Juju Smith-Schuster and Jalen Watson are out already for Sunday's game against the Raiders. I wonder what Juju, depending on the severity of it, is hey, we're just going to rest his hamstring for a couple weeks, and maybe he's back for the Buffalo game or something like that. We're going to talk more about this on the other side, Cody, but I don't know. I just don't know numbers-wise even, like, how do they not go out and just go get somebody at this point? Juju Smith,
like today, this afternoon.
Yeah, let's talk more about this coming up next here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
When you're looking for a dream engagement ring, a beautiful keepsake, or the perfect gift. Come see us in store and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. Create your dream engagement ring and browse our selection of fine jewelry gifts, from diamond studs, tennis bracelets, birthstone necklaces, and more. With our everyday competitive prices, an unmatched free lifetime warranty, Shane Company knows how to work with your budget, not against it. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. It seems like everything we hear these days is about political races, and yet there's a far more important race that you run for yourself every day. It's the race to be the best that you can be. But if your libido is low, if your workouts aren't productive, if you've got brain fog and you're tired all the time, you may feel like you're losing that race, and maybe even that your best days are behind you. But the truth is that they're likely not, because if you're feeling like this, it's probable you're simply suffering from low testosterone, a condition that affects a huge percentage of men as we age. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating low T. We've successfully treated thousands of men for the condition, and if you're like most guys, you'll start seeing results in just a few weeks. Better sleep patterns, higher energy, improved mental clarity, more productive workouts, and your libido will likely increase as well. So get back to winning your race by calling us. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
There's still some time left this season to get those concrete and asphalt needs taken care of. Go to Gann Asphalt and Concrete, where one contractor will take care of all things parking lot for you. One call to Gann to take care of it all. They'll handle it all, whether it's those bad-looking curbs or some of the ramps or bumper blocks. You know which things are falling apart. People just chipped into them enough. Time is not on your side, and those things have slowly fallen apart. You want somebody who's going to take care of this problem for the long haul. Gann is a local company serving local businesses in the Kansas City community for 30 years. That's how you know these other local businesses have been trusting them. Look, whether you're looking forward to 2025 and you're like, okay, what are the things we're trying to do to our business to make sure the customers like what we see, and you want to get on the books now, great. Or you're saying, let's get these projects taken care of before another winter season puts a beating on our business. It's the first thing any client sees is your parking lot. And when you don't take care of it, they're worried you're not going to take care of them. So call Gann Asphalt and Concrete and see for yourself where they can do that for you. That's GANNasphalt.com.
At Main Street Credit Union, your success is our goal. Whether you're a financial rookie or a pro, we're here to help. If you're looking to pay down debt, improve your credit score, or buy a car, we'll be right there with you. We're dedicated to providing guidance, education, and essential resources to empower you on your journey toward financial success. We'll help you understand your financial options so even financial rookies will be on their way to reaching their goals. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information.
Fall's coming, you have a lot to prepare for. Back to school, family gatherings, and staying on top of your health. The virus that causes COVID-19 continues to evolve, so this fall make a plan for COVID-19 vaccination. Ask your doctor to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Our Labor Day savings start now at Lowe's. Right now, buy one, get one free on Valspar Reserve or HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Infinity or Showcase Interior Paint via Lowe's gift card rebate. Whether you're painting one accent wall or want to freshen up a whole room, we've got you covered. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details. Valid through 9/4.
Save on O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner. Get 2 cans of O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner for just $8. Valid in-store only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Let's face it, nowadays most companies have to rely on dozens of expensive, disconnected platforms to run their business. And even then, things can get a little, well, stressful. But with Odoo's all-in-one management software, packed with a suite of fully integrated business applications, every process is streamlined. Tasks are automated, and success is just a few clicks away. See how Odoo can take your business to the next level at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Using the Labor Day weekend to get some work done? We got you. Stop by any store to save on oil, fuel system cleaner, wipers, and more. Looking for an end of summer wash? We've got deals for that too. Don't want to leave the garage? Get same-day delivery on AutoZone.com. Do Labor Day your way by getting something done at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
What's better than 1 win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get 1 line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick six, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tap, Drew Nixon with you. You guys can always interact with us, 913-586-7965. If you're just joining us in the lunch hour, Andy Reid spoke a short while ago, confirmed at least the near term injury status for a couple guys. We didn't get the definitive stuff, but Juju Smith-Schuster, right hamstring issue, already out for Sunday against the Raiders. Jalen Watson, ankle issue, already out for Sunday. Nobody's surprised by that portion, as multiple national reports are saying that Jalen Watson has a broken ankle. The Chiefs not confirming that yet. So 2 big injuries, and specifically on the wide receiver room, just gets thinner and thinner. You and I, right before we went to break, were just talking about, like, honestly, like, I just don't know how, unless you're just going to elevate Justin Ross or something, number-wise, they have to have somebody else. I mean, they're way too thin from just a pure number perspective now, on top of the ability of the guys that are in the room.
It's hard to imagine unless in the next 4 hours while we're sitting here, 6 hours before the day, whatever, that they'll not start one of those guys versus the guy they trade for. I mean, how soon would they have to make a trade if you were like, they're playing on Sunday for this team? Not like Thursday.
I mean,
He's
Amari
traded
Cooper,
for
I know Andy's different, but the recent example, of course, is when Amari Cooper got traded to the Bills Tuesday afternoon, and he had a great game on Sunday. But you're right. Andy Reid's scheme is different. He also just approaches it differently. At the very least, I think we'll see Nico Remigio or Justin Ross activated from the practice squad or whatever, if they don't make a trade, or maybe even if they make a trade. But you're just running out of numbers. I mean, right now, from a healthy perspective, let alone if you're just happy with the room, you're talking about Worthy, Hardman, Moore, and Watson. They're not going to the game with 4. So there's one more that has to just be added from a numbers perspective. You got to have 5 receivers on Sunday. So you're either calling up the two names we mentioned, or there's a signee or a trade. I mean, something has to give just from a numbers perspective. Heading into Sunday's game, I know it's the Raiders, but they're not going into the game with 4 active receivers.
No, and look, this always opens up the door. You'd be like, for a team that hasn't lost yet, this opens the door for more likely to lose. I'll just be honest. If you walk into a game and your number 1 wide receiver is Xavier Worthy, Justin Watson is your 2, McColl's your 2, Justin Watson's your 3, and Sky's your whatever.
Yeah.
Remigio, your 5. I mean, I have a lot of faith in this Chiefs team to win in a lot of different ways.
9.5-point favorites Sunday, by the way, is where they're at.
And Juju Smith-Schuster didn't play 98% of that entire game, and they still won by double digits against a team that was incredibly shorthanded. So I'm not saying they can't win the game. I would obviously still pick them to win the game. I'm just saying you're opening up the door to let yourself get clipped on an AFC game, a divisional game. Those are important games. If you just roll into this without making the trade now, it's time to trade. Just make a trade. It's time. No more of this the deadline's in a couple. No, just trade. Today, tomorrow, by Wednesday at the latest. Go find the wide receiver you want, the one that a team will give up for you. I don't care if it's Deontay Johnson, Demarcus Robinson.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to cap yourself if this is the only one you make, but do something. You got to put some more depth into this room today.
I hear you. Now, good thing they are playing the Raiders on Sunday. We'll be starting Gardner Minshew. They haven't lost in Las Vegas. Obviously, they have good memories there from their last game played in that stadium. Was a Super Bowl win.
Bad memories from the last time they played.
That was at Arrowhead, though, right? That was at Arrowhead. That was Christmas Day. But yes, and obviously, we just mentioned the line. The Chiefs 9.5-point favorites. All right, let's go to what Adam Schefter had to say, because it fits with what we're discussing here. Adam Schefter was on the Pat McAfee show, and he was asked about the Chiefs wide receiver room and maybe some trade possibilities.
I think that they're going to be checking around and asking about wide receivers. But here's the thing. We could bring up some of these other wide receivers, but they like to get people who know that system, generally speaking, who Mahomes is comfortable working with. And we're seeing Josh Allen getting to know Amari Cooper right now. We know Aaron knows Devontae Adams. So everybody's different. I think in a perfect world, it's somebody like a DeMarcus Robinson that knows the system and knows the quarterback that would fit there that could provide some help. They still could use a little bit of help at the wide receiver position. It wouldn't be a surprise if they made a move. I don't know that it's going to be some big splashy move. They'll look into everything, of course, but I think it's more likely that it'll be a less heralded, more inexpensive, less draft capital player.
I unfortunately agree with Adam Schefter. We've been talking about that for a week and a half or
2 months.
So.
A month ago, I said DeMarcus Robinson. That still feels right.
Just she went down. That, but also the last point he made, which is even if we already know they weren't interested in Amari Cooper. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Bills got him, sure, but they just weren't interested. We don't know why, but whether it was draft capital, whether it was ability and all that, but they weren't interested in the number 1 names on the board. They just weren't. So even if we found out today at 1 o'clock that DeAndre Hopkins was totally available, no, I don't think the Chiefs are trading for DeAndre Hopkins.
He's also pretty low on the board anymore, isn't he?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I want Deontay Johnson. I think you would be very happy. Based on what Adam Schefter's saying, that's not in play. I would like to think that the Juju Smith-Schuster injury changes that, but this was Adam Schefter. I mean, that audio is from the last half hour. I mean, that's fresh stuff. That's not from the weekend. That is post Juju Smith-Schuster injury, and that's what Schefter is reporting. That maybe they go and make a move, won't be a splash, and that's why DeMarcus Robinson fits that billing. Now the Rams, they won this weekend, I think. So the Rams 2-4, you start to wonder, when do they start to be willing to do that? I don't think they'll do it, Drew, until Cooper's fully back. And I know Cooper was available, but until that receiver room for them, right now, they still need the bodies themselves. So I think if
they're not done yet,
if
so
it's DeMarcus Robinson, doesn't it feel like that's going to have to be much closer to the deadline?
Unless they wanted to just mail the season in, I guess. Then
Deontay Johnson's best fit, best timing. Panthers are cooked. Andy Dalton's still their starter for some inexplainable reason, according to Dave Canales, unless he changes his mind. They're fried. They got no talent. They're losers. They're going to be a top 3 pick in the draft. They're done. And Deontay Johnson clearly wants to get the hell out of there. If there's no better fit than that.
Would love Deontay Johnson. He was quoted yesterday after the Panthers loss. He said, quote, Everybody's frustrated, but he can't play every position on the field and make every play. He just get my man out of Carolina. He just needs out. He got traded from Pittsburgh to Carolina for like a 7th-round pick or something like that. He's not getting paid that much money. Final year of his deal. It could also set you up to have a nice relationship with him to potentially bring him back in the offseason. If he plays for you this year, it gives you a better chance of retaining said player because he's comfortable in your system and comfortable with the coaching staff and all of that. So Deontay Johnson is the number one option for me, but based off of all the reporting out there, it suggests that that's not something that maybe the Chiefs are willing to do.
DeAndre Hopkins, Deontay Johnson, and I guess somebody remind me, is there a second wide receiver on the Browns we're trading for?
Jerry Jeudy, but he hasn't done a damn thing.
Those are the only
Cedric
teams.
Tillman had a really good day yesterday. But,
those are the only teams that are just done. Like cooked, fried, no chance. Technically, the Rams are only 2 games or a game and a half, 2.5, whatever.
That's true. That division, the Niners haven't pulled away. We just saw where they're at and what their record is.
Yeah.
My thing with DeMarcus
the Niners aren't even in
Robinson,
first. The Seahawks are in first place in that division.
I don't doubt that DeMarcus Robinson is an improvement on the back end of the receiver room, obviously over Sky Moore, et cetera. No kidding. But, man, people change, people improve, football players get better. But I'll just remind people, for those clamoring for, I know you're not clamoring, but for DeMarcus Robinson, everybody was frustrated and was happy to see him leave because he couldn't run forwards. He ran backward. He would catch the ball, 3rd and 8. He'd catch it at the sticks. He'd run back 3 yards, and then they'd be short, and we'd all be like, what the hell are you doing? I just want to remind you.
He did that in the Super Bowl, by the way, on the game-winning drive. Mahomes overcame it, but he...
Yeah.
Do you remember when he caught it?
Yes.
He lost 4 yards?
So before we act like he's, let's just be reasonable about our expectation if they bring him back and not act like, oh, my gosh, it's the greatest trade ever either, because people didn't want his ass near this team 3 years ago now?
I just think he's an upgrade over the back end of the wide receiver room. And what I'm looking for, and essentially what Schefter is saying is, where's an upgrade? I'm looking for an upgrade. I'm not looking for a savior. They don't need a savior. They're the number 1 defense in the NFL. They got the best coach, the best quarterback, still got Travis. They don't need a savior for this team. This team is 6-0. Yeah. They need an upgrade at wide receiver. They need improvement at that position. And the whole other thing that we don't know, that they have a better sense of, they have a better sense of this is, does Hollywood Brown even have a 5% chance of coming back to this team? Because if it's 50-50, they think Hollywood Brown could be back by week 17. Well, then they're probably viewing this thing a little bit differently. Knowing that come postseason time, the only time any of us care about in Kansas City anymore, I don't care about regular season games all that much. I mean, week to week, sure, but whatever overall. I mean, if they think there's a better chance than I know, well, then that changes the calculus a little too. I understand what level of player is he when he returns part of the
we don't even know.
Sure,
I mean, there's the
he's an upgrade too.
There's the coming back from injury. There's also he's caught 1 pass in a preseason game from Patrick Mahomes. And we don't know the timing and all of that. He's not coming in and stepping in and being your number 1 wide receiver when he returns, if he returns week 17. He could have a role, and obviously it moves Sky Moore further down the depth chart and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's an upgrade in that regard.
For those people who say no team's going to trade with the Chiefs because they don't want to give it to him. There is a truth to that, but here's a little bit of a truth to it. I don't think that there's a line. I'll pay the tax. I'll just tell you right now, the Chiefs are the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions. They're 6-0 with a chance for NFL history. I'll pay the tax. If you're telling me every other team in the NFL could get Deontay Johnson for a 5th, but it costs the Chiefs a 4th, I'll pay it. If you're telling me every other team in the league can get Deontay Johnson for a 4th, but it costs the Chiefs a 3rd, I'll pay it. All I'm telling you is I'll pay the tax that it cost to get him there. Because the truth is, you're not paying that much of a tax anyway. Whatever the Chiefs give up in an additional higher round draft pick, right now that pick is 32. Now it looks like it's going to be any worse than 29. They know where that pick is. They know what they're paying in that. I'll pay the tax. I'll pay the good team tax.
We know they have an additional 3rd-round pick as well anyway. Yeah. It's not going to take a 3rd to get Deontay Johnson. So
it just took a 3rd to get Amari Cooper.
Correct. So it's not even the same at all when it comes to that. And I know everybody's worried. Sometimes we overvalue draft picks and all that. I understand you got a general manager in Brett Veach who is as good as it gets right now in football in a variety of areas. And certainly the draft is one of them. And some would say, well, that 4th-round pick could end up being the next Trey Smith and all that. I hear you. But also, you're in the position right now, and what is your pressing need? It doesn't mean that the Chiefs' dynasty ends if they give away a 4th-round pick. It just doesn't. They have an extra third-round pick this year.
There's also the difference. Like, I see people saying, hey, trade for Garrett Wilson. The Jets are cooked. The Jets are cooked, but in a different way. There are teams that are cooked and know they're bad, expect to be bad, and are fine with being bad. And then there's teams like the Jets who have put every single last egg they have into this year's basket. They just have to try to be good. They don't have a choice. They can't sell and hope. They just have to. They're out here overpaying Hassan Reddick into holdout, dude. They're never selling.
We're gonna talk more about the Jets and that Sunday Night Football game, including what Russell Wilson looked like in the 1 o'clock hour, because I definitely want to talk about where do the Jets go from here. Who's next to blame? The kicker, I think, is the guy that's going to get cut this week from the New York Jets. But let's get to the random question.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew, over in the text line, 913-586-7965. And, of course, we'll hear for you over on the Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook streams. Live stream the show 4 hours every single day. Morning show and afternoon show. Live stream theirs as well. So we're 12 hours over here on 96.5 The Fan. The question I have for you today is related to Snoop Dogg. You might have seen a recent interview Snoop Dogg did in which he discussed the one regret he had when turning down a $100 million deal. Did you see what the $100 million deal was for? OnlyFans. He got offered a chance to do OnlyFans, in which they said he would earn, their estimate was $100 million. He said, sometimes it's not your decision. I'm thinking with the little head this time. No, I got to think with the big head. That way you're not getting into this. He's saying, think with your brain, not your, other parts of those things. The question I have for you today is it relates to this, because he turned it down. It's $100 million. It's a lot to Snoop Dogg, even for a guy who's worth tons and tons
I can
and
relate,
tons of money.
Snoop. I can relate.
The question
Similar
is,
position.
What's the dollar amount you'd quit your job right now that they would guarantee you to do OnlyFans? You got to do it, though, man. You got to do it. You realize for a living.
You realize though there's different levels of content that is on there. So I've heard.
This is a fully nude version is what you have to do. What's the number that you'd quit your job and do that instead? There's no number?
Oh, there's a number, but there's also
Snoop Dogg's number is at $100 million?
It is tens of millions of dollars.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
So $100 million, you would say yes.
Like Drew, $100,000 a year. You quit this job and go do OnlyFans?
$100,000 a year? Absolutely not.
I think it's $20 million or more.
$500,000 a year?
I think it's $20 million. And you can say, oh, Gold, you do it for $1 million. You have to understand, I'm not able to get a job in a lot of places ever again the minute that happens. So it has to be. It's
got to be enough to not work again.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's north of $20 million. Absolutely.
In this case, let's say it takes you to retire. Essentially, this is a 20-year contract. You state the numbers.
Nobody's going to want that content 20 years, okay? They may not want it now, but 20 years, they definitely don't.
But
they
you got to do it for 20
want.
years. That way they're getting their money.
Okay.
So, what's the amount of money that you would agree that this is your job for the next 20 years, and then after that, you're done?
Yeah, it's north of 20.
I got to do it till I'm 60. You got to do it till you're 53, and then you get to retire. North of 20?
Yeah.
But 25 million to probably get it done?
I think so.
That website's going to be gone in 5 years, probably.
You gotta
in terms of
post-
popularity.
What, you think people are going to be less horny in 5 years, Drew? OnlyFans is not going away.
There's going to be another one.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Fine, but you got to create content for whatever site.
It's not going to be OnlyFans. It'll be
for
something
the
else.
next 20 years. At least once a day.
Cody, your number should be $1 billion. You won't even go to a damn strip club.
$1 billion?
You won't even go inside and pay off your bets.
Look,
I think
that's a very good point.
Here's my bigger problem versus what you two both suffer from at the moment. Everyone has to suffer from the familiar embarrassment, right? The people in your life who you're related to who know that you do this for a living. And I got kids. One day they're gonna know that this is what you do for a living. I think I'm at the Snoop Dogg number. $100 million and I'll quit. I'll give it all up. But I don't think I just
Someone
do it.
Says that's so cap, Alex. If you got a chance to take pictures and nothing. Here's why the number can't just be $100,000. You're like, oh, you do it for. Here's why. Because I would not have a job. You understand? And there's a lot of places that would not hire you.
And that's not enough to just never work again.
That's why you can't do that. It has to be a dollar amount where if somebody would say, I'm never hiring you, you're good. That's why I actually don't think it's BS.
I want retirement numbers. You know?
Yeah, it has to be. $100,000 sounds amazing. Trust me. Not for that though, because Cody, I think you and I have had a discussion before, on air even.
OnlyFans? I don't think so. Which one?
Well, yeah, we did because we had the trash of the day about the teachers. And I said, I think you would be fired the next day if all of a sudden they found out you had OnlyFans content. You'd be fired because it may not.
So.
I
never
think
asked spec, but
I think you'd be fired not only for the content part, but also just like you can't sign a contract and use like your, we're under contract. There's a whole like that would go under
Is there
like
a
your
morality
creative
clause?
or creative, like that would be viewed as like they have the rights to some of your creative.
Well, but they don't want
There's
that
not an
content on
Odyssey
this station.
OnlyFans.
You're
Thank
saying
goodness.
you need to be an independent
I don't think they want that
creator
at
then.
965thefan.com, I don't think they're going to take the website over there.
Oh, my goodness. I would think not. Look, I'll be honest. I don't know if there is a number because I don't want that to be my legacy. Not look.
That'd be my legacy.
I think I could provide proper entertainment. However, I don't think that would be what I want my legacy to be.
There's definitely a number. It's just a high
Someone says the way Cody's putting it, the next 20 years would be your job. You would not need to get another one. Right, but I'll tell you this. If that was my job for the next 20 years, it's got to be a hell of a lot more than what I make doing this. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
I don't think there's a number for me.
$25 million would be $1.25 million per year.
Someone says, what if it's just the feet picks?
Well, the number's
The dollar's
way
lower. The dollar amount's way lower. Uh-huh.
I know what you're doing with the photos, but, it's just my feet, so let's take our
This
chances.
came up because, you sure this is because of what Snoop said, or were you actually considering?
No, this is just what I thought the article would be funny based on what Snoop said.
$75,000 for 20 years doing just feet picks.
No.
Yes?
Oh, feet picks? Sure. Yeah. If you could promise me I wasn't losing my job, yeah.
For how much?
People would know I'm doing it, but
$75K
people would know I'm doing it, but you'd have to promise me I'm not losing my current job.
Yeah, for $75K. I mean, it's just like
$75K a year or one time.
No, $75K a year.
Yeah, we're in.
You don't lose your job, but
just feet.
But you're out of the industry for 20. Like you have to do.
Oh, well,
no.
There's better earning potential in this job than that. Yeah. Again, it's got to be more than I'm, more than I'm making or more than I have a chance. Any of those things, Drew. Like if you say it's $250,000 a year for the next 20 years, I guess I'm out of the radio game.
I was trying to move the line. Like I was trying to push to how like if you guys, how much would it take for you to do that?
Nope. Up next, we'll get to the 1 o'clock hour. I want to talk a little bit more about the Jets and Steelers game last night, plus the situation on the defensive side of the ball for the Chiefs with that injury news next.
Cody and Gold.
I didn't sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Fan.
Maybe you dodged the summer weather that wreaked havoc on roofs across the city. Maybe you didn't. Or the winter is getting ready to get you if you did. Century Roofing KC is the only company in Kansas City that you need to work with when it comes to your roof. Don't let people knock on your door, convince you that they'll handle the job just because they thought, well, I'll get this person to do it. No, work with someone who's been doing it in the Kansas City area for 34 years. Voted best roofing company in Johnson County 3 consecutive years. They'll work with your claims experts if that's what you need to confirm if enough damage exists to file a claim. They can do small repairs like they're doing on my roof or full roof replacements if that's what it still needs. Trust a local company with those 34 years of experience. And right now they're offering a free resistant upgrade on all roof replacement jobs. So if you need those things, make sure you work with a local company who's been handling it this way versus those fly-by-night, knock-on-your-door hail chasers. The winter weather is here, and you might need roof repairs before you know it. Schedule your estimate today from KC-based and female-owned Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength. Go to centuryroofingkc.com and tell them that Cody sent you.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
7 of Missouri's neighboring states. Amendment 2 gives Missouri sports fans the freedom to bet on games too, and that will generate over $100 million for our schools. Amendment 2 is endorsed by the Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, and Missouri's 2 biggest newspapers, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and the Kansas City Star. Here's Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith asking you to vote yes on 2.
Back in my day, I was the wizard of the infield. Now, I'm a grandfather. That's why I'm voting yes on Amendment 2. It means over $100 million for Missouri schools and teachers, and no more broken promises. There's a constitutional guarantee that the money goes to our schools, and legalizing sports betting is great for us fans, too. That's why the Royals, Chiefs, Blues, and Cardinals all join me in saying yes on Amendment 2.
Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
We're hiring residential garage door installers at Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Join the team trusted here since 1927. Apply today, get a call today. No experience necessary. Paid training for motivated applicants to install garage doors. Hiring bonus up to $2,500. Mechanical, carpentry, or service industry experience is a plus. Good benefits include health, dental, vision, and pension. Earn as you learn to service the best garage door customers in KC. Apply today at overheaddoorkc.com.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig, an absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
It is one of my favorite times of the year. The NBA is back, baby, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app, wants you to catch all the action because right now, FanDuel is giving all users, yes, every single user, 3 months free of NBA League Pass. All you need to do to catch every tip-off and every buzzer beater is place a $5 bet on the NBA. You can place this on LeBron having the most assists, Victor Wembanyama to win MVP, or who you think is going to win the NBA Cup. If you're new to FanDuel, all you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/CDOT. Use my promo code to get 3 months free of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. After 3 month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds, terms and restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
It takes a lot to prepare for game day as a dedicated fan, and preparing the perfect tailgate meal might be most important of all. That's why Hellman's Real Mayonnaise is the MVP. Hellman's Mayonnaise is the secret to bring out the rich and creamy taste to all your game day dishes, from buffalo chicken dip to your favorite sub sandwich and everything in between. So give it a try, and mayo game day be delicious with Hellman's Real Mayonnaise. Shop at your local Walmart, Kroger, or grocery store, and add some extra deliciousness to your game day dishes this football season.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Oh, Downy in the rinse change. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Fall's coming. You have a lot to prepare for. Back to school, family gatherings, and staying on top of your health. The virus that causes COVID-19 continues to evolve, so this fall make a plan for COVID-19 vaccination. Ask your doctor to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Our Labor Day savings start now at Lowe's. Right now, buy one, get one free on Valspar Reserve or HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Infinity or Showcase Interior Paint via Lowe's gift card rebate. Whether you're painting one accent wall or want to freshen up a whole room, we've got you covered. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details. Valid through 9/4.
Is your vehicle stopping like it should? Does it squeal or grind when you brake? Don't miss out on summer brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
1 o'clock hour, Cody and Gold here on a Monday. Victory Monday in KC. Appreciate you guys, as always, for listening to the show, interacting with us on the text line, 913-586-7965. We were joking earlier about the bios because at one point we were talking to Drew and somebody was coming in studio to talk to him, so he couldn't speak to us. And we were like, what was that about? And he said, they're asking about bios because we were supposed to send this email. And we were asking you guys to come up with a bio for Drew. I'll read a few more of those. Mine, I guess, is up on the Instagram account if you want to look at that. It's the same. It's not really a full. I wouldn't even call it a full bio.
This is for other people, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a full bio per se. It's just like asking some very basic stuff. But
there's 5 questions or 5 things.
Correct. So it's up on Instagram, the Fan965, if you want to check it out. But someone suggested real quick, Drew, for you to have your updated profile now as closet Chiefs fan, Bengals apologist, disliker of beer, OnlyFans objector, but otherwise swell guy.
Oh, see, that doesn't seem like that bad of a profile.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah.
There were much harsher ones earlier in the show, and nicer ones.
Yeah, it was a mixed bag. It was definitely a mixed bag with some of the bios that were out there.
Yeah. It says instead of stating that he's married, it could just state that he has more rings than his favorite franchise, the Bengals.
Ooh.
Man.
Was on there earlier.
Someone says Drew's bio has a restraining order from Joe Burrow. Diehard Bengals fan since 2022.
Someone said Drew's bio, a one-time victim of an online scam involving a couch, enjoys fantastic times at Twin Peaks, and fantasizes about Joe Burrow's eyes.
Yeah, I remember that one from earlier.
Did you talk about his eyes?
That one seems accurate right there. That one seems like a very accurate bio. Really accurate, Drew.
I do not look at Joe Burrow's eyes and think, oh man, look at those eyes.
If you guys want, we'll give you a chance, but at 1:30, since we don't want to just make this about Drew, at 1:30, you may text in either Alex or Eyes too.
Correct.
A bio for Alex or a bio for me, and we'll read a few on the other side too. That way it's not just you, Drew.
Yes.
So if you had to create the bios that were going to be published publicly about me or Alex, let us know what you got, and we'll take a look at it.
Yeah, we'll have some fun with that. The actual bios, I guess, are going to be posted on Facebook and Instagram. Mine's up there. I'm guessing Cody's will be tomorrow or something or whatever.
Yeah,
but
maybe it's once a week. Maybe it's
I have
every
no
day.
idea. They asked us to do it, and we did it. All right, you know.
I have not done it. I still need to send it.
Well,
yeah, man, get on
the
it.
listeners are going to give you a few to submit. Perfect. You guys can also, don't forget, join us. You can also join us in Vegas later on this week. We're flying out to Vegas after the show Wednesday. We'll be out at Circa Las Vegas, broadcasting live poolside Thursday and Friday, and then we're hosting a fun happy hour on Friday night. If you are going to be in Vegas for Chiefs and Raiders anyway, if you know someone that's going to be out there, someone that lives there, have them text in or text in for them, and we'll get you an RSVP link. We're hosting this happy hour, free cocktail if you RSVP. You'll have a chance to win tickets to the game, plus transportation to and from the game, which is the traffic and everything. That's a huge deal.
In Vegas?
Yeah,
Hell
and a chance to win a day bed at Stadium Swim, which is the unbelievable outdoor pool club that has 143-foot screen to watch all the sporting events you can imagine, and also just a really cool spot to just hang out when it's going to be like 88 degrees outside, so you'll want to be in the pool.
So if you want that link, just let us know. Hit us up at 913-586-7965 or at Cody B. Tapp or Alex Gold on Twitter. We'll get you set up with that link. Do you want to talk about what happened in the Russell Wilson, Mike Tomlin game? Or
We can do
want to
that
talk about
first, then we
what
can get-
happened with the Browns?
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Then I want to talk about Jalen Watson, too, still, and the impact of his injury. It's funny, we're talking 2 Watsons. Full disclosure, so on our rundown, when we reset, we only put, like, on the reset, one word. And so it just says Watson, which today could be Deshaun Watson, or is it Jalen Watson? So when I teased it, I was thinking Jalen Watson, but it doesn't matter.
Open bag.
It's an open bag. Let's talk about Sunday Night Football for a second. Because there's definitely 2 stories out of that. Let's start with the Steelers. I'll give Mike Tomlin a ton of credit. I think everybody on this show was like, what the hell are you doing polling Justin Fields?
When it's working.
It's working. You were, at that time, 4-2, and like, okay, what are you doing here? This doesn't make any sense. We've seen Russ. Give Mike Tomlin credit. At least in one game, when he switched to Russell Wilson, it worked, not just because they won, but they put up more points than they have all year. Russell Wilson had an impressive stat line. Now, if you watch the game, I think you would also acknowledge that George Pickens, who was great, bailed Russ out multiple times. There was some jump balls. Basically, he threw it up like he was playing 500 in the backyard as a 12-year-old kid and just prayed someone would catch it. And George Pickens wanted to make sure it was jackpot, and he caught it.
He was winning it.
Because the balls were hitting the back of the shoulder on some of these throws.
It hit the defender before it touched an offensive player's hands. Twice out of the 3 deep throws he made. And the other one was just a contested catch. I don't know. I mean, I guess here's the problem. as it relates to the Chiefs, like Mike Tomlin is a really good coach. I guess I shouldn't have doubted him. And at the very least, it's probably a net zero. Like they're not a worse team for having Russell Wilson start than Justin Fields, which was the whole point though. Why switch if you're not a worse team for the guy who had done a good job for you and won a bunch of games? The only thing the Steelers regularly care about. But do I fear the Steelers? I mean, no. The joke. Absolutely not. But the truth is, I didn't fear them with Justin Fields either. So I guess I don't feel any differently about them other than it made no sense to me that they had made that transition. But the Jets are fried. They're done. Cooked. It's over. What chance do they have of rebounding? Like, last year they were 2 games better than they are right now at this stage of the season.
They're 2-5 with Aaron Rodgers.
They were 4-3 to start the year last year.
They have the Patriots coming up, then the Texans, then the Cardinals, Colts, Seahawks, Dolphins, Jags, Rams, Bills, Dolphins to end the season. The only reason why if you were to convince yourself like it's not, is because the rest of the AFC is not good, and so someone's got to be the 6th or 7th wild card spots, which are currently occupied by who? Colts and Broncos, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's the Colts and Broncos, the final 2 spots as of right this second. The thing with the Jets is that like the blame game. I mean, you're running out of people to blame. You dropped, you didn't drop, you fired Robert Saleh. You switched play callers. You called out Mike Williams. You traded for Devontae Adams. Now some of the blame is on the kicker. Probably cut him this week. Like there's nobody else left to blame. Not a good football team. Aaron Rodgers has made too many mistakes. They're in division with the Buffalo Bills, who are playing really good football and are going to run away with it now. That's the thing. Even if I said it yesterday or last week, even if, and this was assuming maybe the Jets could win on Sunday, and they didn't. If the Jets got to the postseason, they're the 6 or 7 seed, and nobody's worried about them as a threat. They traded for Aaron Rodgers not just to get to the playoffs, which they may not even do ever under Aaron Rodgers.
Which would feel like a massive win for them right
now. They
now.
traded to get to a Super Bowl. So it has been a catastrophic failure for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets organization that went all in for him. And they've allowed him to make all these decisions. It didn't matter. I mean, I'll admit, I chuckled out loud on the first play of the game, design play, to throw it to Devontae Adams, and he dropped it on the first play. I may or may not have actually laughed out loud on that one.
Did you see Aaron Rodgers pick his nose and then eat it on the sideline?
I did not.
I'm just telling you right now, man.
What?
Dude?
He
really? Pulled a Chase Daniel?
I'm just telling you right now. No other way to view that video than to assume Aaron Rodgers picked his nose.
Okay.
Then right to the mouth, right?
Tell me. Unless it was like I
don't know, man.
Unless it was the mustache. Unless it was like the, and then like
Let me
mustache.
show you one more time so you can make a decision. That's a nose picking and eat.
Oh, he opened the mouth a little bit.
Come on,
I
man.
thought he was just doing Cody like the nose, but pushing down the stash. I think he opened his mouth. Yep.
For those on the stream, you be the
I
judge.
I didn't know about this. Yeah, he did.
Oh, it's frozen a little bit now, but you be the judge. We can let everybody else
like
make their own
nibbled,
decision. I think that's a nose picking and eat.
That's the least of his worries. Okay, that's the least of his worries right now. Look. I've been critical of Rodgers. That's not a big deal. That's not a big deal. There's plenty of other things to be critical of than maybe getting caught of something that we've all done at some point in our lives. I'm just saying.
Come on, man.
I understand. I understand.
He's not 7 in kindergarten class.
That's true. That's very true.
Hey, he's a kid at heart. I don't know.
Back to actually the football stuff for the Jets, though. I mean, he's under contract for next year. Would he retire at the end of the year?
I mean,
if they miss the playoffs, do you think he'd say, "All right, screw it," or can he not help himself? He's like, "I got to get another go. I can't go out like this."
Where would he go though?
Well, he's under Jets. No, he'd be with the Jets again.
I thought he only signed it 2. I thought this was last year.
No, my understanding is he has an opt. Isn't there like a?
There's like a player option.
Isn't there? Devontae Adams also is under contract, so they would both be back together. I could be wrong. Hold on, let me see.
I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers got 1 year left on his deal, doesn't he?
Hold on, let's see.
I was on the same page
track. Yeah, he does. $23 million cap hit next year.
I think he's
actually not bad.
42 years old. 42 next year.
Because they'll be able to pick the coach and everything. Oh yeah, I think he's back.
Be able to pick the coach. He doesn't have enough. Mike McCarthy?
No.
What's it gonna be?
Actually, you never know. You never know.
People in the text line calling it his third pick.
That's
just
jeez.
All right.
A little hi-hat there on that one.
Is there anybody else that is from the Green Bay Packers who would be willing to come and join Aaron Rodgers? Mike McCarthy's going to join.
Who's left?
You know, I can't. I'm trying to think of.
The other guys are retired, dude.
MVS is it. MVS is it.
Yeah, I guess.
Honestly,
MVS is it for him to grab another Packer.
Anybody on defense? Does AJ Hawk want to come out of retirement and quit the Pat McAfee
He's too
show?
busy just staring at a screen while Pat McAfee talks on the radio.
Where's Clay Matthews at?
Retired. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
you're
don't know
just
what
I
Clay
know he's
Matthews
retired. I'm just. Aaron's just going to start calling around. Hey, Jordy, get off the farm. Get back here.
I mean, it's desperate times there. They're just lost. They're done. They're done. They're not. Whatever you like. And look, it was probably lost the second he got hurt last year, and they were never going to be able to recover, because the things we never talk about is quarterbacks fail quickly anyway, but a 40-year-old quarterback coming off a major injury, being implanted into still a new offense for him, playing after taking a year off, that was never going to go smooth. I actually think he'll get better later on in the year. He'll probably play better quarterback later on in the year as he gets more comfortable and with all of his weapons in a million. But it will be too late. By that time, it won't matter. It won't matter. That team is fried. On the other Watson end, as you mentioned, Jalen Watson, it was announced earlier today. Andy Reid had told us about Juju Smith-Schuster and Jalen Watson will be out for the game. We assume Jalen Watson will be out for at least a majority of the year, if not the entire year, with most reports saying it's a broken ankle. I really don't think it impacts their wins or losses. Now, so, I've got to put a caveat on this. I obviously think Jalen Watson is the better corner of the available corners behind him. I think it has a net zero impact on whether or not they win or lose. I just don't think it matters anymore. I have fallen into the trap with corners a million times with this team. They have lost other corners, 2 injuries in the middle of the season. In the Steve Spagnuolo era under Andy Reid, it has never affected their play. Steve Spagnuolo, Brett Veach, whatever their system of employing corners is, means whoever they lose, barring Trent McDuffie, does not matter. Legerstein's not having a good year in Tennessee.
No,
but
not
it
at
doesn't.
all.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who they lose. It doesn't matter if it's Charvarius Ward, who was good after he left, or L'Jarius Sneed, who was good when he left here, not good in Tennessee this year. They cover those losses like anyone else. You won't even notice that Joshua Williams or Najee Johnson are in the game. It'll be the exact same as it was with Jalen Watson, in my opinion.
So I think that's a little bit of a disservice to what Jalen Watson has been this year. You're right that at camp, we were kind of like, hey, whoever starts, they'll figure it out. And they did, and they decided that Jalen Watson was the best guy for the job, and he has been really, really good. I think as the season progresses, Joshua Williams, and Najee Johnson improve, because there is the track record, Spags and David Merritt and his coaching staff. Could they get him at a level near Jalen Watson? I think there's truth to that, yeah. I don't think it's just nothing to see here either, though. Do I think it will solely prevent them from winning a Super Bowl? Of course, losing Jalen Watson doesn't mean they can't win the Super Bowl. No. But this defense, we've all acknowledged, is playing even better than we thought they would. You know, everybody saw last year and thought they'd take a step back. They haven't. And your number 2 corner going to another team and then still having another 2 corner that's playing at the same level, on one hand, you could say it's scheme. On the other hand, it's they had another guy ready to go. They were more willing to let Snead walk.
But I think it'd be pretending they were fully bought in, 100% Jalen Watson's our guy. We got the replacement house. It was an open competition up to game 3. Yeah. Game 3 of the preseason. Hell, even in game 1, they were flip-flopping between Jalen Watson and other guys in the room. They were not just
and they said this was the best, and this was the best of the bunch.
Yeah, but I just think that also speaks to, I think, splitting hairs a little bit.
Yeah.
Eventually, they were going to go with a guy. They went with Jalen Watson. But for a huge chunk of the offseason, huge chunk of the preseason, the early part of the season, they were like, we can't really tell who's way better or not. So I just think Joshua Williams or Najee Johnson will step in and you won't notice a difference. I do think Jalen Watson is a better player, but I do not tangibly think they will let up any more points. They will let up any more yardage. They will let up more yardage to different wide receivers. I think the fundamentals of how the defense performs will be the same.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think they're going to be tested on Sunday. They're going up against the Raiders, where Gardner Minshew's throwing to Jacoby Myers. The Bucs game on Monday night, when it's Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, to me is the better test, and we'll see. I think that no matter what, Williams and Johnson will get better with this coaching staff as the season progresses. I don't doubt that. I think it does put more pressure if you want them to play at this exact level they're playing at now. Because that's the thing, Cody. Right now we acknowledge they're the best defense in football. If they're okay and fine, but they slip to the 5th best, there's a chance that is a significant difference in terms of number 1 seed or something like that.
And their ability to win.
Because right now with where the wide receiver room. So that's where I'm talking about that, not necessarily the Super Bowl or something like that. We'll see as it progresses. I mean, Charles Omenihu coming back and helping the pass rush, which therefore makes your secondary better. That could be also what makes this not as problematic whenever Omenihu is back.
And
that's weird. Aren't you surprised? We still haven't, and maybe that happens this week. The practice window still not opened up for Omenihu. I think Nate told us he thought mid-November or so. So 21. We're not at 21 days of that yet. So maybe it's next week where the practice window could open up.
Yeah, it is kind of funky. But also, you know how this works. They're going to slow walk it because they're not.
Roland Wallace is going to be the hero, actually. He's got an interception, and so does Jaden Hicks before Trent McDuffie in his career, which is just hilarious.
Be honest with me for a second. Did you know who he was before he made that
No! No, absolutely not.
We cover this team for a living, dude. He had one, and I do mean one, singular snap in that game. That was his first snap of the year for the Chiefs. He got that pick, and I went.
He could have walked in here, Cody. He could have walked in here, and I would have had no disrespect to him. He obviously great pick and good for him, but I would have had no clue who he was. He could have walked in this building today and said, "Hey, I'm like, who are you?" I would not have had any clue.
Roland Wallace. I was like, "Hey, are you did you play in the a different this team? You're in this team?"
Yeah.
That in a lot of ways speaks to it though, because I just look, we know Jaden Hicks because he was a drafted player, so he's top of mind, and he had an excellent preseason of football. Not surprised he was able to get an interception on I would say force there in this. But part of the reason their secondary works is because of their pass rush. That's part of it. Part of it is the guys, and they are good, and they're good at what they do. But part of the reason their secondary works is because Chris Jones is an animal. He forces terrible throws all the time because he is a freak of nature, forcing problems on the defense. Now, George Karlaftis also had his best game of the season yesterday, forcing some bad passes too. But their pass rush makes their secondary better too. It's going to cover some of these losses. Look, if you believe in Pro Football Focus in this regard, they say that Jalen Watson has been the 37th best corner in all of football this year, and the drop-off between him and Joshua Williams is 100 spots. So, I mean, they're telling you that the drop-off is significant and that you're going to notice the drop-off. I just think they cover it in a lot of ways and continue to.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I mean, difference of planning all week to start versus getting thrown in the game. Because in the, I don't know, what was it, 5 snaps once, or more than 5 snaps, once Jalen Watson went out, I sure as hell noticed when Najee Johnson was on the field.
Yeah, I also think it's their team coming in cold and playing entire game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's, to be fair with him, we'll have to see as time goes on. But in that immediate circumstance, I definitely noticed the drop-off.
Yeah, I would say so. It's just, it is. It's so just, they manage to cover it all the time. All the time. And you and I still think the pass rush is getting better when Charles Omenihu eventually comes back. So
he tweeted yesterday that 8 months since, so it was 8 months post-op. So that's where he's at timeline-wise for a torn ACL. We're at 8 months right now.
That opens up the window of him coming back, because normally ACLs now are it went from 10 to 12 to now 9 to 11 or somewhere in that range where it's a little bit quicker.
So a month from now it would be 9 months, and that gets you to November 21st, and that's not far off the time. At one point, they were super optimistic. I remember the offseason. They were talking about Chiefs-Raiders the first game, as in this Sunday. Now it's looking like Chiefs-Raiders in Kansas City. And maybe I'm wrong on maybe I got my timeline messed up. I thought that was the thought at one point preseason, and now it's being later. But when you're playing as many games as they are, we say it over and over, there's no reason to rush Omenihu back. Why? No reason at all. You're 6-0. It's all about the postseason. It's about getting Omenihu up to speed in the regular season, and that by the time he gets to the postseason, he's a problem for when you play Josh Allen or Lamar, or et cetera.
Yeah. And again, that's down the road, and we can deal with those things. And again, I only give the Pro Football Focus reference because it kind of changes.
I only like it when it supports my my thoughts.
It does support your thoughts.
I only like it when it supports that. Otherwise it sucks.
Do you know the number 1 rated Pro Football Focus quarterback is this year?
Quarterback or
okay, hold on. Give me a sec. Quarter. Throwing the football.
Throwing the football.
It's got to be Baker.
Because somebody said they don't believe in it because,
you said Baker. Baker's a strong guess. Let me think. Yeah. Okay, I like that. I could see him definitely being top 5.
Might be Joe Burrow. I'll be honest.
Darnold can't be great now.
Joe Burrow's number 2.
Ooh, yeah. Darnold's had some rough second halves. I don't think he'd be graded top 3.
It's not Jaden Daniels, is it?
Hold on.
Okay.
It's a good guess.
I think it's Baker.
Jared Goff.
Ooh. Very good guess. Derek Carr was the answer we were going for.
Oh, my.
Carr.
Oh,
The answer we were going for
goodness.
was
He hasn't played in 2
Carr.
weeks.
Well,
he hasn't played in 2 weeks.
No chance to screw up,
What's
you know?
the rest of the top 5? I'm curious.
Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff, and Jaden Daniels.
Okay. All right.
So
Derek Carr has been that good?
He was that good.
Well, I mean, think about it. They were scoring like
top
50.
first 2 weeks,
They were
45
scoring like
points.
50 points a game when he was in. So kind of.
It's easy.
Where's Mahomes ranked on that? Which I'm not surprised is not
They
good.
gray out. I'm not a subscriber. They gray out after 5. So
Oh, okay. So,
sometime after 5.
excuse me.
I don't subscribe to Pro Football Focus.
I figured you were a subscriber.
No.
I figured you were locked in daily to that.
No.
Grinding tape.
Only looking when I need to take a peek, you know?
Up next, we'll get to what's trending. We'll go over create a bio for each one of us. We'll explain that again if you missed it. Coming up, 913-586-7965. We'll also talk a little bit more about one thing Andy did. I guess 2 things Andy did yesterday that surprised me, and it could be a good thing down the road. We'll explain next.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
It's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here now on 96.5 The Fan, telling you guys about my friends over at Window World. Window World is the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs. Pick up the phone right now and call Window World today at 816-799-0820 or check out the website, windowskansascity.com. And remember this, when you call Window World, be sure to mention that you heard this on The Drive with me, and you'll be entered into a drawing for 4 Chiefs tickets during the upcoming season. You know they got some big games, and you're going to want to be there. So call my friends over at Window World. They're offering right now 36 months, same as cash financing, with approved credit. In over 20 years of business, Window World has improved the look and thermal efficiency of over 54,000 homes right here in the Kansas City metro. Check out the website, windowskansascity.com. Pick up the phone today at 816-799-0820 for a free home estimate. Call to be entered into a drawing for 4 Chiefs tickets. Remember, Window World, simply the best for less. And the official window of your Kansas City Chiefs.
Something big is happening at Hy-Vee. We just lowered thousands and thousands of prices on thousands and thousands of items in every aisle and in every department. Online, too. And on many of your favorite products, we've even matched prices with some of the biggest discount stores in the country. Because we get it, times are still tough. So we'll continue to work hard to bring you new lower prices on thousands of items. Things are looking different at Hy-Vee. Come see for yourself.
Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. This year, I get to host, and Hy-Vee's going to make it convenient for me. They have made fresh, ready to heat and serve favorites like succulent turkey, honey glazed spiral ham, prime rib, savory side dishes, and dessert. Hy-Vee's Taste of the Holidays event is coming up Saturday, November 2nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can sample all of the amazing ready-to-serve meal pack options or just get a little holiday inspiration. This holiday season, let Hy-Vee do the cooking while you take the credit, only at Hy-Vee.
Fall's coming, you have a lot to prepare for. Back to school, family gatherings, and staying on top of your health. The virus that causes COVID-19 continues to evolve, so this fall make a plan for COVID-19 vaccination. Ask your doctor to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Our Labor Day savings start now at Lowe's. Right now, buy one, get one free on Valspar Reserve or HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Infinity or Showcase Interior Paint via Lowe's gift card rebate. Whether you're painting one accent wall or want to freshen up a whole room, we've got you covered. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details. Valid through 9/4.
Save on O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner. Get 2 cans of O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner for just $8. Valid in-store only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's time to review the top 3 highlights of the day. I'm joined as always by my co-anchor Snoop.
Hey, what up, though?
Snoop, number 1 has to be getting the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence at T-Mobile.
Yeah, you should hustle down to T-Mobile like a dog chasing a squirrel chasing a nut.
Nice analogy, Snoop. Dogs do love to chase squirrels.
And squirrels love to chase those nuts.
On to highlight number 2, at T-Mobile, families can save 20% every month versus the other big guys.
That is very impressive. You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
That's exactly what I'm planning on doing with my savings, Snoop. Now, take it away, Snoop.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on them. Now drop that jingle.
24 monthly bill credits eligible to trade in on Go 5G Next. Well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 connection charge. Cancel entire account before receiving 24 bill credits, and credits stop and balance our required finance agreement too. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
In just a few days, Cody and I are headed back out to Las Vegas with our friends over at Circa, getting set for some football, going to do some shows out there. And as I told you guys back in August, one nice thing now when I travel is I don't have to remember my contacts and whether or not I brought contact solution, or maybe the night's a little late and wondering how on earth my eyes are going to actually allow me to put contacts in the next morning. None of that matters anymore thanks to my friends over at DuraVision. I made that phone call about 4 years ago to find out that, yes, I was, in fact, a candidate for LASIK. And a few days later, I went in for my procedure, and I have been seeing better than I ever have without contacts or glasses ever since. You got to go with the best if you're talking about something as serious and as important as your vision and as your eyes. That's why that decision for me was DuraVision. They've performed over 65,000 vision correction procedures. You should be next. Give them a call, 913-491-3330, or go online to DuraVision.com to schedule that consultation and tell them Gold from 96.5 The Fan sent you.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Number 1 on What's Trending is the Chiefs, of course, improving to 6-0. But we got a couple updates from Andy Reid on the injury front. We've been talking about the last hour or so. That is that, as expected, Jalen Watson is definitely ruled out for Sunday with an ankle injury, although there are multiple national reports suggesting it is a broken ankle, and it could lead to him.
Andy said it's not good.
Could lead him missing the rest of the season. We'll get official word, but obviously not good things on that front. Also, Andy confirmed that Juju Smith-Schuster is already out for Sunday. It's early in the week, already ruled him out for Sunday against the Raiders. Right hamstring injury. If you were aware last week or weren't aware last week, on Thursday he had a hamstring spasm that kept him out of practice or was limited. And then on Friday, Andy said he thinks he's good to go. He was prepared to play. He did play part of the game. Had a hamstring issue flare up. I don't know if it's more severe now. He's not going to be out weeks. I don't know. But he's definitely not playing on Sunday.
Next up on What's Trending, all 3 local college teams won for the first time maybe all year. Maybe week 1. Actually, week 1. I think they might have all gotten the win. Missouri victorious over Auburn, 21-17. Kansas got the win at Arrowhead for the first time this season against Houston. And then K-State with the most impressive win of the 3. Traveling to West Virginia, put a beat down on them. I thought it was the single best game I've seen Avery Johnson play for the Wildcats. Biggest matchup this upcoming weekend is Missouri. They head to Tuscaloosa. 21 versus number 15. Alabama's already suffered a couple of losses. They can't afford another one and be in the 12-team college football playoff field, but Missouri really can't.
I would say,
based on their wins either. This might be winner has the best chance, certainly, or the only chance to make the playoff.
I know we're going to talk more about it tomorrow, but it could just be a de facto college football playoff elimination game.
Yep.
There's a chance that that's what we're talking about. And as we get closer to that game, we'll talk more about it. Next up on What's Trending, World Series matchup is set. It's the Dodgers. It's the Yankees. Game 1 not till Friday night. I know. Yeah, look, star-studded, no question about it. Unbelievable talent, no question about it. Soto and Judge to
Two
go
of the highest payrolls in the baseball,
Mookie
no question
Betts
about it.
and yeah, Mookie Betts and obviously Shohei Ohtani. But that's what it is. It's two big market teams. It's been ridiculous amount of money, and this time it worked. It got both of them to the World Series. Between the two, lesser of two evils, I'll take the Dodgers. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
You guys think the Dodgers are the lesser of the two evils?
Yes.
See, for me, so for me,
I
I'm
love how we said that at the same time. Go
I'm
ahead.
a little bit younger than you guys, but
Okay.
I know the Yankees being good, but to me, I just hate the Dodgers. To me, maybe it's because more recency bias, I guess, in a way. But
they have won a title more recently.
Cannot stand.
Yeah, for
the
us, I
Dodgers.
think it's. I don't want to speak for Cody, but like some of it might be the age gap. That's true, but just always. Growing up,
normally, yes,
the Yankees. You just, It's just the New York. Their fans are even more obnoxious than LA Dodgers fans, who can be.
It's like as
ridiculous.
easy as hating Duke, you know?
That's what
like,
it is.
It's just like, if you hate the Cowboys, you hate Duke, you hate the Yankees, you know? The Dodgers, that's LA. They got lots of other stuff going on. Too busy to hate them or
Because
whatever.
Cowboys fans like Duke and they like the Lakers.
Yes, it's the same.
And they
yes.
like the Yankees.
Yeah, it's the same. Like,
Same
if you
group of
like all
people.
those teams, you like, yeah. It's easy. I hate
It's
them all
gross.
just the same, right? It just works that way. Next up on What's Trending, other NFL injury updates. They have confirmed that Deshaun Watson is out for the scene with a ruptured right Achilles after that injury yesterday. Everybody could see it on the replay. The 49ers are still saying they have feared Ayuk may have torn his ACL, but waiting on official tests to confirm that. And Jaden Daniels is undergoing more tests today to discover how serious that rib injury is that kept him out for the entire Panthers game. Now, they were already up 3 touchdowns in that game and ended up winning by like 5 touchdowns, so it didn't really matter. We'll find out. His mom was saying he was fine after the game, but your moms always think you're fine, you know?
Well, I think what we know by that and by what was reported right after, like, he's not out for the season. He might miss 3 weeks at most. Maybe it's a week. But the worry of, like, oh, my gosh, their whole season is derailed, that's not what's happening, fortunately, for Jaden Daniels. Last night, What's Trending, we saw a game get flexed. The NFL announcing today that the Colts-Vikings are now going to be on Sunday Night Football in Week 9. That's a pretty good matchup versus what we had before, right? Jags and Eagles moves to 305. So I know the Colts aren't an exciting team, but Colts-Vikings is still way better than us watching the Jags and Eagles. That's
Fine.
what's trending.
Nobody wants to watch the Jags.
That is definitely what's trending. Someone points out also to add to our Yankees, reason why we don't like them, they have Jazz Chisholm. Someone specifically said, Yankees have Chisholm. F that guy.
For this year in particular, yes.
913-586-7965. We were asking you guys to also submit bios for Cody, Drew, and myself. This all stemmed from, if you go on our Facebook or any of our social channels, you'll notice there's like these quick little bios that our social media team is putting out on each one of us. I think today it's me and it's somebody else tomorrow. I don't know. Whatever. It's up there now. We were trying to talk to Drew earlier in the show, and we were wondering why he didn't answer immediately. It's because he was talking to one of our social media coordinators. I don't know our official title. I apologize. Social media coordinator?
Let's call her director.
I think
Director,
digital
sure.
content producer is
Perfect. I apologize. And so you were talking to
Pretty
her.
close.
You were talking to her, and we were like, "What are you doing, man?" And you're like, "Oh, she wanted info for my bio." We're like, "Oh, we already sent that." But so then I was like, "Let's create a bio for Drew." So we've been getting texts all day. We needed bio for Cody and myself. A couple of them already coming in. Someone says, "Hi, I'm Cody Tapp, the line cutter, song creator, older women lover, the type of cheese knower, Vinny Pasquantino lover, can't win a hot dog derby, son of a gun."
That's a pretty good profile. I mean, why wouldn't you want that guy, you know? A lot of line cutter references. certainly
Definitely.
in
So
mine.
yeah. It's full of it's full of that. Someone says they need a fun fact for your bio. Cody is the only vessel of travel you haven't been on is a submarine. Is that true? You've been on a
I've
blimp.
been on a blimp. I've certainly been on an airplane or some of the
A
other
boat?
normal boat.
Obviously, car.
Yeah.
Is it down to submarine for you?
Am I
Helicopter?
Oh, I've never been in a
Okay.
helicopter.
All right,
Nah,
all right,
damn it.
okay.
So, if anyone can
I
get me
have
on a
not been in a
helicopter,
helicopter.
or a submarine, I'd like to add that to the
Helicopter's
reasons I've been
doable.
late to this show.
The helicopter's doable. We're going to Vegas. You and your wife can have a romantic
helicopter ride?
of
Is
the
that a thing you
strip.
can book?
Oh, 100%. Now it's like $300, $200, but yeah.
That's not terrible.
You know,
you
why
can
not?
do the zip lining thing down Fremont too that we saw in February.
Yeah, but that's not a vehicle. But yes, you can do that.
I've been on a zip line, man.
We've
That's not a new
We did
vehicle.
one when we were filming the
Oh,
Creed,
yeah.
Creed is Good. I had a that was funny because they're like, "Oh, do you want to?" I didn't know how long it was going to be. We were waiting to set
You
up
did
stuff.
like an hour-long
I went on
track
a
through the
full
woods?
like an express through
An
the.
hour long?
I think it was KC. Was it KC Zip that helped us? I can't
Yeah.
remember the name of the exact company. What is this? Someone else says.
We need some for Alex, too.
What, you read that one. I'm not going to read my own. I'm not going to read my own.
Is it coming in? Alex Gold.
What?
In search of a woman that is a 10 that makes a minimum of $500,000 a year, that also like fine wine and dining, and doesn't have overbearing parents. That's a big ask for you. No wonder you're having a hard time finding love.
A minimum of $500K.
Damn, you want to marry a doctor?
Yeah.
I mean, $500K. You're marrying a doctor or a really good attorney.
$500K is a wild dollar amount to put on there. A wild dollar amount.
$500K.
That's a crazy dollar amount.
Man, I think you could do that. Someone says you could just use AI to create your profiles. Search the entire internet about me.
Someone's just said Cody's simply doesn't know how to pay off his bets, doesn't share his fantasy, loves to cook.
Oh, that's true. That's a great one.
A romantic helicopter ride to the strip club. You got it.
Perfect.
You guys can land in the park. How romantic. You and your wife cuddled up with a blanket on the helicopter, looking over the strip, and then you land at Spearmint Rhino's parking lot. Here we go, honey.
Someone said Alex Gold, OnlyFans master.
No, I do not actually. I've actually never paid for anything on that site. We gave Carrington a hard time for that once.
About what thing did we give a hard time about?
OnlyFans.
Oh, yeah.
He's openly admitted it.
Oh, that he's paid?
Mm-hmm. That's someone else. Alex Gold is search for a woman that makes good chicken strips. Can't go wrong with chicken strips, man.
Do you want a girl to share your sense of taste? Would you like someone
No,
to
it doesn't matter. I mean, if you're like dead set on always having seafood, it's not like you.
That's going to create a problem.
But also with food, I feel like there's so many options that you can make it work. You know what I mean? Now, like if you just, I don't think food alone would cause a problem. There's way other things that are problematic. You can't navigate food. You can make that work.
I simply typed in one prompt into ChatGPT.
About?
It was, please search Cody Tapp of Kansas City on the internet and create a unique and funny bio based on the things you find about him. This is what it came up with. It already knew I was a sports radio host, so I'd figure that. Cody Tapp is a sports radio host and personality based in Kansas City, known for his witty commentary and deep love of all things Kansas City sports, with a flair for the dramatic and a knack for making even the dullest sports takes sound blockbuster. He's a guy you want on your team. Unless you're playing trivia night, where he's been known to accidentally look up answers. It's accusing me of being a cheater.
What? Is this true?
No, I don't even
Where did they get that part?
I have no idea.
There's clearly something on there where you've tweeted about it or something.
When he's not in broadcasting, you can try him convince him his dog that fetching is a sport, or attempting to master the art of barbecue by accidentally setting off smoke alarms. I'm just telling you what it says. Legend has it that Cody once tried to cook a brisket and ended up starting a neighborhood cook-off instead, much to the delight and the confusion of his neighbors. These are the things he came up with.
There's some truth to some of that. There's definitely some truth.
I'm way off here.
913-586-7965. We have bios that the social media team had us give them answers to, and so throughout the week they'll be up on our social media channels. But you guys can create the bios you think are actually accurate. Someone says, Alex, movie star, successful gambler, undefeated in the hot dog derbies. Enough said. I promise I didn't text that one in. What were you going to say?
From the 816, Gold wants a girlfriend who hibernates during football season.
Just like a bear?
Someone else that likes sports as well. But I've told you that the person does not have to be a diehard sports fan. I've told you the balance is like you can't hate sports. That just won't work. But no, you don't have to like be obsessed with sports. Now, if you couldn't stand it, then that might not work, right? Like that might be a problem.
I dated a person who couldn't stand sports. It didn't work. Like you're like secretly watching pitches of the World Series. That's not getting anybody anywhere.
No.
I've done that. That part, not like him at all. No, but nothing them. You can definitely date someone who like doesn't like care about sports, but doesn't care that you watch them.
Text line 913-586-7965. I'm whispering because I know I can't read a text that just came in. My apologies.
There was a couple of them. I don't think that you can read.
Yeah, there's a few.
So says Cody, you can get the submarine knocked out if you just go to San Diego. You can tour a sub. Touring a sub, does that count for?
No, I need a ride on it.
Okay.
I think it needs to count. ChatGPT says Alex is a self-proclaimed chief fun officer, CFO, right? Alex believes that his laughter is the best seasoning and sprinkles it generously wherever he goes. I'm just telling you what it says, man.
Okay. All right.
Whether he's attempting and failing to teach his dog. What's the dog stuff in this stuff?
Yours had the dog thing as well.
Or host epic game nights where the stakes are always a piece of cake. I don't know, do you?
Okay.
He's on a mission to spread joy like confetti. With a heart as big as his love for KC Sports, Alex dons a jersey for the teams he can't name all the players of because his loyalty is more important than his knowledge, right? If you're looking for someone to liven up your next gathering or try every type of cheese at the local market, Alex Gold is your guy.
The cheese thing in there as well.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know, man. I think it's just searching KC stuff. It just starts throwing in barbecue.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about the dog stuff, but yeah.
Wow. Drew, best couch salesman in the 816.
Hey.
Got it sold twice.
There's not too many like me.
No.
That's not too many.
We'll pay you to buy our couch.
I am the salesman to beat in the 816, all right?
He sold it.
I'll pay you to buy my furniture.
That's the easiest way to get it sold, I'll say. Oh, man.
How badly did I want that couch gone?
Yeah.
That was the...
Boy.
Someone wants to know, Cody, when you said you dated someone who didn't like sports, they wanted to know, was that in elementary school? When was
because I've been with my wife forever?
Yeah.
No, it was in high school.
Yeah.
I've known my wife for a very long time. We didn't date.
It doesn't. If you can't
All that
date
time.
anybody in elementary school. I'll be
No,
honest.
they're joking. They're joking.
I
Obviously.
know, but it's
No, dating in elementary school is you held hands.
even in middle school. And no,
whatever.
Yes,
Middle school, you can date someone in middle school. I don't know, man. I mean, you can date the way my sister got pregnant by someone in middle school, so I'm pretty sure you can date. If you can knock someone up, you can date. Like, I don't know how to break. He was in eighth grade.
okay.
You can definitely date in middle school.
I'll be honest. I was going to. That is an example.
She didn't have
I
to be
was not
thrown
going
into
to
this.
use.
I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, just throw her business right out there, you know?
I mean, at this point, he's a
I know,
mystery.
I
He's
guess.
25,
Yeah,
the
fair
kid.
enough, fair enough.
It's not like there's some secret now. He's
Yeah.
a full-grown adult.
Yeah. One of the things you mentioned is easier to deal with in middle school than the other, though, I guess, between
Yes.
the two. Drew's like over here.
Somebody from the.
Go ahead.
Somebody from the 913 said, Cody, the master of the Hawk Tour.
Okay.
Wow,
that's-
Drew,
He's
reading
making it
Drew.
weird.
Well,
Drew read that one. We skipped over that one.
because we played the audio on the show.
That's true. From the 620, Cody Tapp, I can cook anything with a green onion. I've done every job imaginable. I rode on a blimp. I do think
that's a good
the
bio.
fun
actually.
fact. You know,
The
that's a
blimp.
forget.
You should have put the blimp.
Every time they ask me for a
Put a
fun
blimp.
fact, I forget to put I've ridden on a blimp.
They didn't. Hold on.
Huge mistake by me.
Did you get different questions than me?
No, they didn't put the fun fact on the bio.
Oh,
If
really?
you go, they left that one out.
There was a hidden talent one that was.
That's
in
what I
there.
mean. Sorry, the hidden talent one.
Oh yeah, that
They
doesn't
didn't.
count.
They didn't put that on. If you go to our social media channels, the one that's up there for me does not have that.
Why not? They should have absolutely.
What did you put, Drew?
Well, hang on. What are your hidden talent, or what is your hidden talent? And then I'll tell you.
I said I could say the 50 states in alphabetical order in under a minute.
That's impressive.
That's it. That's my only hidden.
I don't really have one. I just was being a smartass with my answer, and I put actor. But anyway,
That's good.
yeah.
Oh.
What did you put?
Beatbox. I can beatbox.
Oh, you
And
hold
we're
on.
just
You,
learning
hold on,
this?
dude. You've been producing our show for over a year, and you haven't tried to bring that to the table.
I've been creating music this whole time. And they're just like, that's a thing? That's an
Hidden talent, all right. Hidden from everybody.
Hidden talent.
Oh, well, you know now you're gonna have we gotta.
Can you prepare something for us tomorrow?
Yeah. Can you? You got to bring something to the table soon.
What do you mean, like?
I
a
would
song?
like you to beatbox tomorrow on the show.
I could beatbox right now, but it doesn't.
Well, now I want to
don't
build
need
up the anticipation. We only got 4 minutes left.
I
on the
don't
show.
need to
You
prepare
can
myself.
beatbox. Why am I not surprised?
I
Why?
just didn't know, why wait this long to mention it?
That is surprising. You know,
Because
we've
it's a
talked a
hidden
lot
ta-
about.
if it's a hidden talent, I feel like you don't mention it unless it just.
I mean,
it
there's
just
a,
happens.
There's a difference though between Cody not mentioning whatever his was about the states.
Doesn't do us any good on the show.
We provide entertainment on the show. Cody sometimes sings as well, and you can beatbox. That's why it's stunning that you didn't bring it up.
Damn, I had no idea.
Someone says, check out my SoundCloud. That's what Drew's out here.
I used that when I was in college.
I bet you did.
No, so
Oh, wait, can we find your beat? Can we find anything on SoundCloud of yours?
I've posted stuff on Twitter. No. It's not me beatboxing. I produce. I make music. Like I make music. Like I've posted them on Twitter.
Again, Drew. Where has this been?
Why is this
Hold on.
only now coming up?
I will go and I will retweet the
Like a
music
beat
that I
you
made.
made?
Yeah. I will go and I will retweet it
Well,
right now.
you know you're going to have to make a song
just
or a beat
retweeted
or
it.
something for the show now. Sometime in the by the end of the week. Maybe not tomorrow. By the end of the week.
Can I you're saying I make a song, I make an
I want you to
instrumental
beatbox.
for Cody.
Well, I want you to beatbox.
I want you to beatbox for sure, but also, yes, make an instrumental for me and I'll make a song about it.
Someone says, go ahead.
No, it's better if you read it.
Beatbox Bengal boy over there.
I like the alliteration.
Drew is the kid making weird noises in class. No, there was a lot, like my friends and I, we would have like we would do people have like ciphers, like rap ciphers or whatever. We would do like beatboxing ciphers where we would have like a circle and we would just like.
Someone's calling you out. You have to prove them wrong anyway. Someone says, Drew, you can't beatbox, bro. Stop the cap. LOL.
Do you want me to do some right now, or do you
give us a quick preview?
I want the full thing tomorrow, but give me like a little taste.
By full thing, what do you mean?
Like a minute, you know?
Like 60 seconds. But right now, just give us like
5 seconds.
Give us like 5 or 10 seconds right here before the end of the show.
60 seconds. I want to be exhausted because
that'd be funny.
It's tiring.
I don't doubt that. Just give us like 5-10 seconds here if you guys.
Actually, that's pretty. What?
Yeah.
This is.
Come on now.
No, that was actually really good, but I can't believe you've been with us for over a year and we had no clue, and we're all finding out together live on the radio.
Hidden talents, man.
Okay. When's the last time you did that?
Oh my gosh. Where I beatbox or I did
what you just did.
What I just did. That beat, I would say middle school. It's been that long ago. I mean, that beat's been in the vault for a while now. Like I will randomly beatbox while I'm at home by myself.
Man, I just had no idea. This is brand new information at this show. This isn't like we weren't holding it hostage. We didn't know.
No, this is all new information. This is a good. This is a strong development on the show. Someone says that made me wish Cody was singing. Do not do that again, Drew. That was trash. Wow.
Trash. Who said trash?
Oh, jeez. The text line is brutal right now. Brutal. Oh, my goodness.
What the hell, text line?
You want to read that one?
Yo.
No, not that one.
That's really bad.
Now there's people just saying they can out beatbox Drew.
All right, we might have to do something with listeners and Drew beatboxing
like
at the same
battle?
We might have to.
We'll figure it out.
We might have to do that.
Oh, my goodness.
What a development. You never know what's going to happen.
I mean, that was like one of the versions. Like you can make noises. Like you can make noises. You can make noises with your mouth that sound different, and it makes the beat sound different.
Good to finish
You
that
can make
sentence.
noises with your mouth.
I had to make sure that I wanted to. I wanted to
finish
phrase
that sentence.
I needed to phrase it
I
properly.
was going to let you finish that sentence. It felt better that it went that way.
I don't claim to. I was impressed, actually.
You're not a proper judge of beatboxing.
No, I was impressed. Just on the fly right there. Just like that. He had that ready to go.
When I was in middle school, so when I ran cross country, we had like skits that we did as like a thing, like for like team bonding, if you will. Yeah. And we would do like songs. Like one of my friends would rap, and I would do a beat, and we'd have like a choreographed dance that we would all do. It was great.
He could have been beatboxing in the background of one of your songs. You could have taken like a 10-second an interlude or whatever they call it. I don't know what they call it. You could have done that for 10 seconds. He could have given him an opportunity, but he didn't speak up until today.
You probably thought it was going to be like the doom, doom, doom. Like, no.
Can you do some of that?
Yeah, but that's not good beatboxing. That's like basic beatboxing.
This is
So for every loss the rest of the way, Drew, you get a minute to beatbox. Every Bengals loss the rest of the way.
Bengals are going undefeated the rest of the way.
Anytime Bengals lose the rest of the way, you have to beatbox for a minute.
And I got to sing over the top of it about what's going on in the Bengals.
Well, this is a strong development that'll provide content in the future for this show. I'm excited about that. All right, tomorrow we're back at it here. We're going to have our VNFL Insider back.
He's back.
How about that? Tomorrow, 10:30, VNFL Insider joins us once again. C-Dot and Rob coming up next right here on 96.5 The Fan.